way too close to the monitor. I'm Jamie. Welcome to Sci-Fi Vision presents Severed Minds with myself and Karen. Tonight we have episode 9 of the season, the After Hours, to talk about. If you haven't, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out all our other videos on YouTube. And also make sure that you stop back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have our interview with Mia Sandaya for Yellow Jackets, who plays Aquila. So make sure you stop by. And as always, we have our watch party before we have our live stream on Discord. I'm putting the link in the chat here. So that will be at 6 tomorrow, since we're going to be earlier. There we go. Whoa, where'd it go? Sorry, guys.
That's
not
great.
with it right now. But anyway, well, oh, your message went through again. I'm like, why are you messaging me again a second time?
Text message to you. Yeah. Oh, that's too bright, huh?
No, you're okay. So what did you think of the episode? I think this one was kind of slow and it was really sad. The majority of it was sad.
You know, I think for part of it, I thought it was kind of slow, but it was, I mean, there was so much like emotional weight to so much of what was happening, right? Particularly with the Indies, there was a lot of emotional weight with what was going on there. And then there were a couple of like big things that do happen in this episode that I guess needed to be properly set up. So, and it might have felt slow because we're so close now to the season finale and so wanting answers. I mean, I thought last week was a little slow also, right? Really, I wasn't here with you last week, of course. Really beautiful and some important stuff, but slow. And so if this episode felt slow, it might be like a 2-week buildup of expectation that something should happen, right? After 2 episodes being huge, right? Like 2 episodes ago, which would be episode 7, I guess. We had some.
Sorry, I'm just typing in Discord. I'm still here. Go ahead.
So maybe it wasn't just totally slow as much as we've had 2 slower episodes in a row, following some big stuff.
And I think that kind of sometimes does happen as you're leading up to the finale, but I definitely think some important things happened.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I'm going to
go ahead and mark them. I was just going to say, I know we're not to yet, but that devour feculence, I love that.
I've been saying that for a long time.
I know. That's like the best line, I think, of the whole thing. We need to get, I don't know if Michael's here yet. We need to get him on the show. He was sending pictures of the chopsticks and stuff from the restaurant and his ticket stub from the train. Because I guess you can see him for a moment in there, but that's really cool. Talking to you.
Just me has a good point. Like, if these felt slow, it's hard to watch the last 2 episodes after Chikai Bardo, which was like,
I wonder if maybe they should have moved it towards the end.
I mean, that was one of the biggest episodes of the 2 seasons of the series, really. I think so. Yeah, it does make it hard to watch the smaller episodes.
There we go. Let me see if this works. I was working earlier. I don't know how well it's going to work. We're going to find out. Oh, it kind of works. Did it look?
Wow, Justin has a strong feeling here. What are you doing? Trying to
There, I'm fixing it. It gets rid of that stupid ass the thing at the top I hated. Although for whatever reason it fit earlier, but oh wait, there. Now we got banners again. I'm trying. This is why I wanted to come in earlier. This was why I was writing you.
It looks fine.
Don't mess with it. I know it does. It just annoys me. So that was a little better.
So Justin is like really frustrated. While the acting and cinematography is absolutely top notch, I think we all agree. But the story has been so slow, weak, and drawn out. I really don't understand how people feel this type of storytelling is acceptable. Wow, that's a strong reaction. I mean, I get it. It's total like. We value everybody's feelings about the show. And it has been slow and it has been kind of drawn out. I guess we're just hoping that'll pay off, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't find it quite that slow. I mean, like I said, yeah, it's slow, but it was really emotional in this episode, and I think that it was needed. And I think I appreciate that they sort of wrapped up. Now, hopefully, he'll still be back again, but sort of wrapped up Irving's story where I feel like they actually didn't have to. They could have just let him leave and not dealt with it again until next season. So I do appreciate that.
I mean, I guess. I mean, so Justin did elaborate.
Let's go ahead, click on it. I don't know which was.
I thought Mark was going to be integrated like 5 episodes ago, and we were going to get 4 or 5 solid episodes that dealt with the implications of that. Instead, I feel like the writers are stalling. I agree with Justin totally here. We've been talking about reintegration since season 1, and this business with Mark getting reintegrated by Ragabi has really been taking a long time, and it happened a couple weeks ago, and we still haven't seen any real ramifications or results. It's not even clear if he is integrated or to what degree. That is, I gotta agree on that. That's really frustrating. They are pulling that thread super slow.
No, I agree. I know people at the beginning of the season were like so surprised it was so quick he was reintegrating, and I remember thinking back then, yeah, but you're not going to get it right away. Like we got teases of it, but not a whole lot. So yeah, I kind of see that. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was quite as slow, I guess, as Justin did. But I do agree that we want to see more of the reintegration. And that was what I think everybody wanted to see. I think that without giving anything away, I think that people will be more happy with the movement in the finale. I'm not saying I love everything about the finale. There's certain things I didn't like and certain things I did like. But it's definitely more fast moving. Is it as crazy as 7? Maybe not, but it's up there. There's a lot going on.
That frustrates me because I don't like to justify a slow episode by saying, "Don't worry, it gets better." Like that's like, to me, that's like being like, "Oh, your husband's a jerk, but maybe he'll change," right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I might agree with Justin here. Like, okay, was it a bad choice to place Cobell's episode after Gemma's? It did kill the momentum. And it is hard to restart with a slow episode. Like, could they have put the Cobell episode before Gemma? I wasn't here last week. I love Mrs. Cobell. She's among my favorite characters. I don't think that needed an entire episode for what we got last week.
I don't think it did either, but I wonder if they were intending, like they could have put it in with the other ones, but then we would have only got 9 and people were so happy to get 10. I don't know if that would have necessarily been better. What I think they should have done was still had 10 episodes, but pace them different and put like pieces of Cobell's in with the other episodes. So we got Mark and Cobell, or maybe even did it with Gemma's episode, just sort of mixed it up a little bit. So it was like fast and slow together rather than all fast, all slow. Like if it had just been rearranged a little. I don't know.
I don't really agree with making it 10 episodes. So people will be happy. Like you make it.
No. I'm just saying, like, I like that it was 10 episodes. I just wonder if they had broken it up and like went back and forth between Gemma and Cobell or between Gemma and Mark rather than having a full episode of Gemma and then a full episode of Cobell. Like they could have flipped back and forth. Maybe
the Gemma episode, I don't mind at all having a whole hour devoted. That was very good. But I do feel like Mrs. Cobell, maybe we didn't need a whole episode to learn we learn. I think you make it as long as it needs to be. And if it needed to be 9 episodes or 8 episodes, that would have been fine. And
right. I'm saying I wonder if they had ordered it a little different. And like, do you know what I mean? Like, like going back and forth, like told part of Gemma's story, then part of Cobell's story, or somehow blended the episodes instead of switching between like keeping all Cobell together and all Gemma together. Because like even this one, we didn't really get much at all of Mark even. Like I don't know. I just wonder if they could have structured it a little different.
Honestly, to me, Mark has become like he's the central character and he's the most boring character. And I'm with Justin that his integration has become like, okay, I'm with Justin. And I feel that Mark's integration has become sort of like a B storyline and a side story and not as interesting as everybody else in this entire episode. Mark, I'm the least interested in Mark of all these people.
That's fair.
Right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And like I said, I think, yeah, I feel, okay, yeah, we said that.
It's not just Justin, like just me agrees
Yeah,
the
it,
momentum
it,
is a
it did feel like it was losing its momentum. But like I said, I mean, yeah, I agree. But it does. The next one is a lot more going on. It's like I can't really say anything without.
It makes me don't make me
No,
don't make me say it. Don't say it, because then I'm gonna say it and I'm gonna be like, Jamie, stop telling me it gets better.
well, I can't help it. It's hard not to. Because James says we need to wait and see 10 before making a judgment. I'll just say I agree with that. How's that?
I'm gonna step away. I gotta close my window. There's cold air blowing in.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I want to store a couple more of these. And thank you, Justin. Let's see.
My back.
But Just Me says, I don't even mind if the reintegration stuff is drawn out, but I wish stuff would have happened with the other characters, especially Dylan. I feel like a lot happened with Dylan in this episode, though. Do you not? Or at least at least what happened was important. I don't know if I want to say a lot happened, but I think what happened was very important.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if Just Me maybe means like not a lot has happened with Dylan in general over the last 8 episodes, right? Dylan's like, I mean, he played a pivotal role in rebelling last season, and allowing all the innies to wake up on the outside, right? In the OTC. And then this season he's been, I mean, I do feel like in this episode, Helly like encapsulated all when she says to Dylan, I don't know the exact line, we'll come to it later, when she says, like, they got you to like betray everything you know for a woman you don't even know at all.
Yeah. And because he's like, it's my, says something about his wife, and she's like, it's not your wife.
Yeah.
And I realized I don't have my notes, so I'm opening them. Sorry, that's why I'm like looking over here. I'm trying to open them.
So at least that sort of tied up Dylan's story. Not tied it up, but at least it brought like his betrayal, his whatever he's been doing with Gretchen in his visiting room. I mean, Helly, she put her finger right on it, how he's been manipulated, and at least she showed she spoke out loud his, I mean, I was going to call it a failing. That's pretty judgy of me on an innie, right? To say that it's a failing for him to want to. It was brilliant on the part of Lumen to know exactly how to manipulate Dylan.
Yeah, I still think though that right now that could backfire what they did though, because he's now
he quit.
Not sincere, and now he's upset. Yeah, and he's trying to quit. We don't know whether his Audi will let him quit, but yeah, it's
here's the thing. One thing we don't know: do they even need these people after Cold Harbor is finished?
Yeah, they keep saying how important it is, but we don't really know.
Like maybe they all would be laid off after Cold Harbor is finished, right?
Yeah, well, I'd say probably for the sake of the show, probably not, just because I don't know that they're going to switch cast in season 3, but that far into the show. But yeah, they do keep saying it's that Cold Harbor is so important. I know Drummond says something later in the episode to that effect. So we'll find out. Let's go a little bit in order. I've been having that has been sitting up there forever.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if there was a purpose to show the timer. I don't, and it's up there, which is why I'm talking about it. But the fact that they had this, minute timer as she's swimming, I wonder if there's a significance. I don't know that there is. It just was a little odd to me that that's what they chose to do. But, we see Helena swimming. The one big thing, though, I wanted to ask you what you thought about the scene, this whole opening, that I have it all over my original notes when I first watched this episode. Now, I know sometimes I go more into the color theory than you do, but this show does have a lot of it. And the thing that I thought was so strange is that this whole scene was all blue. There was like no red, and it's supposed to be Audi Helena. And it got me thinking, because that one scene later on in the episode where her father comes in and sees Helly and is like, you tricked me. I don't know that there could be a possibility that it could be heli or an OTC or something, but it does make me wonder why they chose to film it all that way. The only thing I could really come up with in the end that made sense is that maybe like Helena is becoming more like Heli as time goes on. I don't know, but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, what you want to say is blue. I really see that is gray. And I could say they shot it in gray because she's in a gray area right now. Or it could be that color because swimming pools are mostly blue and the lights in them are mostly blue.
Yeah,
and
no, I don't mean just specifically the swimming pool, but I mean like, okay, like if the timer is blue, but also just like even her wearing blue, I mean, could be also she's going
wearing Heli's clothes.
as her innie, right?
Yeah.
So that part I wouldn't count. But even like this huge, whoops, I'm pointing to the wrong picture. Like the painting, this huge blue circle on the wall. But I get what you're saying. I guess it is a little gray. I don't know. I took it as blue, as opposed to there being more red in it, where at the beginning of the season it seems like we got a lot more of the red when we're in the outside world. But I don't know, these scenes with her and her father are just so confusing to begin with, and I'm not sure what the hell a lot of it means, if I'm honest. But he's talking to her and saying it's a momentous day, and I'm assuming from what else happens in the episode, excuse me, that by that he means that Cold Harbor is going to be finished.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it important. But when she says for him to eat breakfast or whatever, he's like, you go ahead, I'll watch. Which, I don't know. This scene just to me is creepy. So she cuts her egg. Now, I had seen somebody on Facebook was asking, I think we said Gemma had 7 innies. So I'm not sure, because some people were saying maybe that's what 6 means. That's how many innies there are. But I think we had agreed that she had at least 7. So I'm not sure that necessarily.
I think an old timey egg slicer slices your egg in 6 pieces.
Yeah, but it does again have definitely a lot of symmetry. Now, what the hell is going on with this plate?
That's a wild piece of china, isn't it?
It is. It very much is. I would like to know what the hell it is supposed to mean. I mean, aside from the fact, again, it's blue.
I mean, it looks like
they're holding him down. It looks like
it looks like that little guy is maybe being held down into the shit. I have it like on my TV screen, looking really big. Also, it's like a little. He's not a child. He's a little guy, right? And those guys with those hats, they're some sort of authority figure. It's wild.
Yeah. I'm curious what other people, because I haven't actually talked to a lot of people about this episode, and I am really curious what people seem to think, because I just don't know. To me, they kind of look like witches' hats. I don't know that they're supposed to be, but it makes me think of something like that. But yet their clothing looks almost like colonial, maybe. So I don't know. It's just very, very strange.
Yeah.
But she puts I know what I was going to say before. I was going to say the scene does have a lot of symmetry, though. I mean, you got the duality there, but once she splits it, I don't know. It's just so bizarre to me. Like, why do it all just so like perfectly, unless it's more of like a cinematic choice to show the symmetry? Yeah. I don't know.
Really uptight person about her breakfast, right? Like,
yeah, which I'm guessing maybe stems from her father, because he, the way he is, I don't know, but because he says, I wish you'd eat it raw, which I don't know why. It just sounds really creepy. But
so that's a throwback to season 1, where on her first day of work, when Milchick is walking her into Lumen, when she's before she has the test in the conference room, he mentions that Kier's favorite breakfast was like 3 raw eggs with milk.
Oh, okay. See,
and then once she goes into the conference room and Mark is testing her, Mark says, "What is Kier's favorite breakfast?" And she doesn't know what he's talking about, to show that like she's been severed and can't remember a conversation she had like 1 minute ago or 5 minutes ago or whatever.
Yeah, no, I didn't remember that. I just thought it was really creepy the way he said it.
I didn't remember it. I read it in the Vulture Club this week.
Okay, yeah, and what is up with this weird plant sculpture thingy?
Yeah, it's the centerpiece on the table.
And it's very,
you can
very
get another view of it from a different angle. Yeah.
It's bizarre. I think that the other takeaway from this scene, though, is that she says we're seeing to Mr. Bailiff, which of course is Irving. So she's saying, we took care of it. which we find out later, of course, is that Bert was sent to, I don't know, do something to him, disappear him. It never happened. So what they wanted, so we don't know. But yeah, so she had something to do with that. And say, even her, I guess I didn't get a picture of her. I was going to say, even the silverware is blue.
The silver, oh, you mean the handle on the flatware?
Yeah. That's why I said a lot of it's blue. He's there drinking pouring his tea. Yeah. So I don't know. That whole scene was just really bizarre to me. And he's creepy and weird to begin with. So I just find it all gravy. So Helena drives to what I'm assuming is Lumen. The building looks a little different from this angle, but I'm assuming it's supposed to be Lumen, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah, that's Lumen. Okay. No, that's the mansion. I think that's the mansion they live in.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure.
That's that long glass
quite look like Lumen.
I think that's the mansion.
But I took a picture of the water tower.
I knew you would. I knew you would.
You knew I would. You know me. And it took me back to episode 7. Now you have to remember, when I watched these last episodes, I watched 7 through 10 consecutively. I mean, I watched it all together. So I had just seen, episode 7 like a couple hours before this. And I have written in my notes that Lumen runs on the blood of the town. Not literally, but it made me think of that because we talked, I had said how in episode 7 with the whole blood drop, and I thought that's what the drop represented. So that's what's in my notes, is it's like how they destroyed, if you think about like Cobell's town and stuff, how they built the town up and then it was destroyed once they left. Like everything is Kier. Everything is Lumen.
Okay, but that's clearly a water tower.
Yes, no. But I'm saying, remember in the episode 7 that the drop was like the blood drop on the when they were taking blood and everything. Well, I had said to you back then that's what I thought it represented.
Yeah, you said that the Lumen logo was a blood drop, and I said it could be a water drop.
It could be.
It could be a lot of things, right?
No, I know. I'm just saying from my point of view, when I said that after in my notes, I had in here that the whole town is like runs on the blood of the people because they destroy everything. So anyway, that was what I had.
I get it, but I mean, the town that Mark and Devin live in is pretty nice. Like that's not a destroyed.
Well, no, because Lumen and Kier are still there. I think that Cobell's town is gone, is like they left and it's like nothing now. I don't know, but I think that everything changes with Lumen there.
Yeah.
At any rate.
Yeah.
So then we go to Huang and Milchek. Now, I think Muncher Luncher says the Lumen logo could be an upside down.
It could be.
It could be a balloon too, or an upside down balloon. Like I'm looking at our balloon logo, but we had, I think, I don't know if they had actually confirmed it until this episode. We had said before that it seemed like Huang was doing the same thing as Cobell did. I can't remember if it said before this episode that
you might have said it last week. It was last week in the Cobell episode where Sissy says the what such and such fellowship, like you left town for the fellowship.
Yeah. Well, she had the same fellowship, Wintertide.
She says you went to the Wintertide Fellowship, and now in this episode we learn that it's mentioned again. Milchek says the Wintertide Fellowship is over.
Yeah. I don't remember. I'd have to go back to the other pictures, but hers is for Year of Vision, which I don't believe. I think Cobell's was Year of something else, but I'm not entirely positive. I'm going too fast, but there I was getting that Wintertide Fellowship. Her name is Yusis Huang, Year of Vision. So yeah, I feel like hers might have been the year of something else, but anyway, this is where Milchek says that he clearly is still mad at her. Whether he thinks she turned him in and complained, whether it's for another reason, I don't know. But he is clearly not happy with her. He is, I don't know. He just seems very angry in this scene. But he tells her that her bed's going to be moved from her parents' home to the Gunnel Egan Empathy Center in Svalbard, which I looked up is in Norway.
It's like the northernmost populated island, I think. It's really it's a place where you go to see polar bears. I know they have a tourist.
Yeah, it's a cold place far away. And I think that is like basically what happened to Cobell. We know, like, she left and went away and was gone, but it's like they're sending her that far away. And I wonder if Cobell went that far away, or if he somehow got her sent that far away because he's mad at her. I don't know.
Or maybe she just came right here and did the same thing here in headquarters. We don't know, right? She could have.
Right. No, I'm just saying, I think to me, I'm wondering why they're sending her all the way to Norway now. But
well, I took it just that they're a global business and this is the next place where she goes. I mean, I'm more interested in, so we know that Cobell did this fellowship, Ms. Huang is doing this fellowship. Do you think Milchick came up in the fellowship?
I'm assuming probably originally he did.
Yeah.
But obviously Cobell was above him for, a while. But he says, let's see, but she's going to steward global reforms. And she said she thought she'd be staying the quarter, and he isn't letting her, and says empathy awaits. And he says she can resume her duties for the day, but then a shuttle's going to pick her up. But he tells her to lay her game on the table because I lost my place. The handbook requires her to mark this betterment with a material sacrifice. And he's chosen her ring toss game, her little Kier game. So he puts it on this cloth and makes her smash it with the head statue, which is, I don't know. It's a little crazy, but she's great.
Yeah, I guess it's symbolic, but yes. It seemed mean, and I'm not the hugest fan of Miss Huang, but she looked really small and young and scared, and I felt really sorry for her in this scene.
Yeah, I did too. My other thing is, it's a toy, and he took it because it was her toy, but I kind of think it's interesting that it's a Kier toy he destroyed. And I wonder if it's like kind of hinting that maybe, Kier's legacy or something is not going the way they plan, or will not go the way they plan. Because I just thought it was strange that, that he destroyed something Kier. I know that Milchick does not seem to be as strong a Kier follower as certain people, like, Cobell. But I don't know. I just found it strange that he picked something that represented Kier, unless it's supposed to mean something.
Yeah.
Hi, DJ. Thanks for coming. I
was interested when I saw that head in the previous episode when Mrs. Cobell, when Harmony goes to Sissy's house and she gets her notebook, she takes the head, right? And she says to, I forget what that guy's name is, the old friend of hers, she says, hold my head. And the head, she takes the notebook and she takes that head. Like, of all the things in that house, she took the head, right? Like, it means something to her.
Yeah, and she also said she knew Sissy wouldn't throw it out, and I think that's why she stuck it in there. But I'm not sure why she took the head with her if she's pissed at Kier, but it definitely had meaning, and it's the same
head,
whatever you want to call it, trophy, plaque, statue, whatever you want to call it. So, okay, let's see. So then we go to Dylan's house. I took a picture again of the cartoon. I don't know what that is, and I have no idea what to Google to try to figure out what that is, but it's interesting looking, whatever it is that's on the TV. But this is where Gretchen tells Dylan that she saw his innie again at Lumen, and they kissed for about a minute. I was going to say too, I also tried to get the pictures of the fridge, but I couldn't make out what anything is. So and she apologizes, but he's really upset about it. And she starts to say it didn't something. He's like, what, mean anything? And she's like, I wasn't going to say that. So clearly it did mean something to her.
No, just because she wasn't going to say that. I mean, okay, yes, I think two things here. Did it mean something to her? Yeah, but just I don't think her saying that's what I was going to say is an indication that, he cut her off and won't let her talk.
Yeah. And when I say that, though, I don't mean like she meant it as in, his innie necessarily means something to her and she wants to leave with him or something. I didn't mean that. I just mean that, like, I think that what happened to her is significant. And she's like saying, hey, this is how you used to be. This is why I wanted to kiss him. This is, that part of you has kind of been distant. And he made her feel that again. And I think she's trying very hard to explain that to him. And he's, not willing to listen because he's upset. And I get it, but I don't know. Can you get upset at somebody for cheating on you with you? I don't know.
Well, but it's not with him. I think this goes partly to conversations we've been having about, are they the same person? Is it he doesn't think of it as him. He thinks it more like his twin brother or like a part of it. We keep going back to the part in season 1 where Helena tells Hella, you're not a person. And I mean, I think it's easy for Audi to think any Dylan's not a person because he's never met him. I think it's beyond his ability to understand why Gretchen, what Gretchen's going through. To Gretchen, they're really the same person.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. I think she thinks of them as the same person. I don't think. I mean, I know that she knows that it was maybe wrong and she feels bad, but I think she thinks of it as it was a part of him, or it was like he used to be, or whatever. So she's trying to kind of rationalize it a bit.
I mean, I feel bad for her. She's trying to do the right thing, and she's trying to tell her husband that this thing happened and let's talk about it. And Dylan's not receptive. And he's maybe just underscoring the things that are not working for their relationship. Right? He's kind of he's not making a point for her, but he makes a really good point also, right?
Yeah, no, he does. But I love his line here. Dylan always makes up funny curses. This is so many fucking dimensions of fucked. And that's when she says, it's how it used to be. And he says he's going to go to work and earn a check and respectfully requests her not to follow him and use his body to cheat on him. And he basically won't listen to her.
But no, I think he's absolutely right there. I can.
Oh, yeah, he has the right to be upset.
I can 100% understand why he thinks she's using his body to cheat on. It's exactly how Helly feels about Helena, right?
Yeah.
That she used her body to sleep with the man that she's, I don't know, loves, is interested in. Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it? I mean, I'm asking, I guess, what you think or what people in our chat think. Is it the same thing, basic? Okay, so it was a kiss versus sex, but is it kind of the same thing?
It kind of is, but I feel like I think to her, when she sees any Dylan, she sees him as Dylan. I don't think when she did it as, I'm cheating on my husband, I'm kissing another man. I don't think she felt about it that way. I think she knows it's wrong and that it had upset him. But
then doesn't she? Then she doesn't.
Does that make it okay? I don't know.
Then maybe she doesn't feel like she's kissing the same man and it's the same person and it's okay because she feels bad. She feels like she has to tell him.
Yeah, but does she feel more like he'll be upset than she necessarily feels that it's a different person? You know what I mean? She knows it's going to affect him regardless of how she feels. But I don't know. I just don't. I think to her, it was sort of him. That doesn't make it, like I said, I don't know that makes it okay, but she knows that he's going to be upset, whether she feels like it was still him or not. It's not really relevant in a way. But did she cheat on him? I don't know that I would go that far, but I don't know that I think it's right either, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know. I get he's upset and I understand why.
So, yeah, I don't want to say that I'm taking a side here, but I understand Dylan here. But
yeah,
I think there's a big element of Dylan, the Audi not believing that Innie is a person.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, at any rate, it upset him. And he's, hurt by it and angry right now. And the point is, he won't talk.
Well, to the point that he threatens to quit, right?
Yes,
which would essentially be killing this person. Or I don't think he thinks of it that way, but like
he said, he says that he should maybe just quit and end his existence. So
yeah.
I don't know if he looks at it that way, but he definitely says it's that way.
And then she wouldn't be tempted anymore because he wouldn't exist.
Yeah, right. Justin says it's not cheating, but I wouldn't forgive the person or want to be friends after. Yeah, I think that's the point. Like, you would be hurt, rightfully so.
Well,
is it as bad as cheating? Maybe not, but that's what I said. That doesn't make it okay. It's just not.
I don't know.
It's kind of like, it's almost like, have you seen in these, what it makes me think of? I don't even remember what the hell show I watched this was in, but there was a show where somebody was sleepwalking all the time, and they started having sex with their ex while they were sleepwalking. I wish I knew what this was because I'm talking about the show, but they didn't know it. And their ex was like getting mixed signals because they're like, you say you don't want to see me, but then you come over at night and have sex with me, or what, or not come over. It must have been that they came over, whatever. But the point is, they were having sex at night because they couldn't drive, obviously. But and it's kind of like, is that person taking advantage of them? I mean, it was still them, but they didn't know it. So it's kind of that idea of,
yes, if a person's sleepwalking, I'm sorry, that's basically like raping an unconscious person.
Yeah. But it was the idea that, I guess what I'm getting at is the ex, it wasn't exactly fair to them, because in the sense that they're like, how did they know that they weren't awake? You know what I mean? Like, to them, they were telling them, yes, they wanted this. So it wasn't exactly their fault, but you're right. It is essentially like raping an unconscious person. But if you don't know that they're unconscious, and this is different, I'm not saying this is the same. I'm just saying that it reminds me of that idea that, like, the one person isn't aware of it. I don't know.
I mean, I think, I don't know. Is it cheating? I mean, in this case, these two have taken marriage vows. It's not like Kelly and Mark, right?
Right.
They're married, so there's a stronger line there. But also, so Audi Dylan hasn't seen what we as viewers have seen. That, I mean, there's an emotional connection between the two of them, right? And we see the connection and the attraction that I think is closer to a cheating situation than just like, oh, I was attracted to a person and I kissed them, or I was drunk and right? Like, I mean, there is I don't know. Could the three of them figure out a way? What was she hoping for when she brought this up? Like, what did she think Dylan was going to do?
Or is it just to appease her own guilt?
Well, yeah. What answer was he going to be like? Okay, so this kind of mirrors the conversation that Irving had at the dinner party at Bert's house, where Bert and his husband, John Noble, whose name I forget, but the John Noble character says, I think innies are deserving of love, and I hope what you two had together was beautiful. And he's really accepting and open to the innie version of Bert.
Yeah, he clearly looks at them as two completely different people, where maybe Dylan doesn't. So yeah, it's just a different side of it.
It's like a direct contrast. I almost feel like
it's kind of the opposite reaction almost.
Well, yeah, like it was almost set up. It almost like set this scene up, right? Like this, could this scene happen even without the other scene? I feel like, I don't know, this scene maybe has more weight to it now that we've seen someone with a different opinion have a different conversation.
Yeah. Thank you, DJ. Yes, everybody, please like the video and share it, and follow or subscribe to the channel if you're not. We appreciate it. All right, let's see. Are you tracking when the other stuff happens that is in the chat?
Yeah, the chat's a little quiet tonight. We don't have.
Well, no, we have some start up. I just didn't know if we got to any of them yet, but I don't think we got to that point. Any of those points. I don't think we have. It doesn't look like it. I think
we're not there yet. No, we're not up to any of these comments yet.
Yeah. So there's our scene. So point is, he doesn't listen to her. He won't talk about it. That may change. I don't know. But he's just like over it.
I felt sorry for Gretchen, although
I felt sorry for both of them, actually, in this scene.
Yeah.
Because I totally get his side of it too. But I get that she is not trying to hurt him either. But like I said, what she did wasn't right. I don't know if it was cheating exactly, but it doesn't make it okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Irving comes into his apartment, and Radar, when he gets in here, is sitting and staring at one of his paintings of the black hallway. And see, again, an old style phone. We get the old tech there. So he seems to know something's up. And because he comes in and he looks, and Bert is sitting there reading his notes. And it's a little bit creepy at the beginning. So we don't know what he's there for. I think people had theorized that he may not be a good guy.
Yeah, you know, Jamie, I don't think the dog was staring at the painting. I think he was staring around the corner at Bert.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I took it as you staring at the painting, but that actually makes a lot more sense. So I didn't completely think that through. But at any rate, Bert's there reading this, and he starts reading it out loud, and he says, they may also be connected to several recent disappearances or deaths. Goodman, who is Bert, may have participated as a low-level Lumen enforcer or goon. And he laughs and he says, Lumen goon, that stings. We never use words like that. And he says they have specific language. And then Irving says, you know, this was before I knew you. I don't think that anymore. Now, do you feel at this point in the episode that he really doesn't feel like that's a possibility now? Because when I watched it at this moment, I don't know if I totally believed Irving, especially when he seems hesitant to leave with them in the car. I don't know if he was totally convinced. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, this was kind of surprising to me. Like, we haven't really seen much of. So if Irving says that's before I knew you, that means Irving was tracking them before he went to their house for dinner.
Yes,
right?
Which we already knew. He was investigating Lumen. We've kind of known that.
He was investigating Bert specifically to the point of knowing what he was up to, or thinking he knew what he was up to. Like, his investigation of Bert on the outside is more in depth, I think, than I caught on to.
Which, to be fair, it's kind of true. So, but yeah, I don't totally believe, like I said, at this moment, I'm not talking about later, but at this moment, I don't think Irving necessarily is sure about Bert. Because Bert says to him, where'd it go? I lost it. He says for him to go for a ride with him. And he's like, starts apologizing, like, I'm sorry, like, you know, don't be mad at me. And he's like, just come with me. And he's a little scared. So yeah, I don't know that he totally trusts him here. I don't think he does yet. I think he does by the end of the episode. I just don't think he does here. Hey, Fletcher.
And he doesn't have any reason to. It was like at that dinner party where he learned they've been associated with Lumen for like 20 years, right? Like, I think
he wasn't quite convinced. I think he thought maybe. I think he was hoping, but I don't think he was 100% convinced.
So I'll give you that. Yeah, I think he was hoping. I don't know that he because he has these strong feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't really have. When he says, like, oh no, I wrote that before I know now that I was wrong. I'm like, really? No, you don't know that. Like, I kind of agree with you. He's saying what he needs to say.
Yeah,
in the situation.
He seems a little scared to me. And this was about the other scene. Just May says, I want to see more of them together, whether Annie Dillon or Audie Dillon. She means with Gretchen. Yeah, I like them together. I mean, I assume it's probably not going to be with Annie Dillon, but yeah, even the two of them together outside, I do like their relationship that they have. I think it's interesting. So let's see. So after this, it's more of their conversation. Sorry.
This is just a conversation because it cuts to the next scene.
Yeah, it cuts to the next scene where we see.
I knew you would take a picture of that.
Of course, of Lumen and its, symmetry. And then we see the lumen halls, and we see Dr. Maurer again. Now, I wanted to ask you about this because there's one thing I noticed that I thought was interesting when I rewatched this today. I mean, for the second time, because I watched it to take notes today, and then I watched it during the watch party. I was thinking, why is he the only one in the office? But then I also thought about the fact that, Irving's gone, Dylan's gone. So do they automatically they only stay when that specific person is there? Because Helly is not in that at that moment. Helly isn't in the office either. Actually, neither is Mark. Nobody's in the office now.
It's like 7 a.m. No one's in the office yet. It's early morning.
I guess it could be. I just wondered if it was kind of representing the fact that innies weren't there either.
I mean, it begs the question to me of this timeline, because we see Dylan's getting ready to go to work, right? Milchick and Miss Wang are already at work. Dylan hasn't left the house yet. Irving is coming home from somewhere. Right? Also at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it being morning. My point was just that the innies aren't there, so neither are those people, except for him because he's trying to figure out about Mark. But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because the office was empty as well. But you're right; it might just simply be this morning.
He's stalking Gemma, is why he's there.
Too. Yes, but he's also trying to find out about Cold Harbor. But yeah, you're right. He's looking at Gemma, watching her, creepy like always. I love the little lumen black and white band-aid. Yeah. But he's watching her surveillance, but also then he's looking at Cold Harbor, which, like I said, I think that was also part of why he was watching the video, trying to see what's going on. And it shows that Cold Harbor is stuck at 96%.
Can I just say, Cold Harbor, Justin, we talked earlier about some of these comments about it really dragging and taking too long. If I don't find out what Cold Harbor is in next week's episode, I'm not watching this show ever again.
Okay. I won't answer you one way or another.
They have been dragging out Cold Harbor for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I think the idea in this episode is that whatever this big thing is that's so important to Lumen to complete, that either it will cause the death of Gemma or after it's complete, they will kill Gemma, I think is the idea, going by what Cobell says later. But before we move on, I'm just going to bring up, Just Me says, Irving's ex-military, of course, he won't be trusting Bert 100%. Yeah. Let's be fair. He's smart not to, because, he wasn't wrong. I mean, he's lucky that Bert likes him, but Bert was doing shady stuff. So, and Justin says, I remind him of Helly and you remind him of Gemma. So there you go. Thanks.
It's the hair.
Well, yeah. I got the red hair. So, let's see. I lost where that was at. Okay. So he calls. Let's see where to go. Okay, so he calls Drummond and he says it's 96%, and then Drummond calls Milchick and yells at him for it being at 96%. And it's 9 o'clock and it's 96%. One of them says 9 o'clock. So you're right. It probably was earlier morning. But the numbers aren't moving. And Milchick says that Mark might just be running late. And then Drummond's like, the final quota was promised today. Get him now. So he's not happy. None of them are happy, but they're, it's like Drummond's blaming Milchick. Drummond always blames Milchick. So let's see. So Helly comes out of the elevator. She looked a little confused where she was going, but I don't know if it's just she was determined to get to the office and it was just the way they filmed it.
She comes out of the elevator. She sees the picture, right? And then she turns right and looks down the hallway. And then she turns left and walks down the hallway. And I did think that she seemed to maybe not know where she was for a minute, but that's totally the Helly walk. Helena walks different from Helly, and this Helly has a more, I was gonna say clump. She's more, she's like she's got a heavier tread.
Not as elegant of a walk, I guess.
Well, she's always leaning forward a little bit, like she's really going somewhere.
Yeah,
and she doesn't carry herself like this erect carriage the way Helen. So I really, but when she was confused for a minute, I was like, oh shit, is Helena coming back? But I really think it was Helly in this scene.
No, I think it was Helly. I just was wondering why she seemed confused because she has. I thought at first like she hadn't seen the painting, but she had because we'd seen before when she's seen the painting. This is why I need to keep my my YouTube open. I can never see any of the icons and stuff, and when it's in StreamYard, it says something else. So now I completely lost where I was at.
Well, she's coming in now. She's walking in the hall to come to work.
Yeah,
and she's the only person at work.
Yeah. She goes in. No, sorry. She goes into their office first. The lights are off. Nobody's there. And she's like, Mark, no, you know, it's completely empty. But that's because Dylan. And again, I mean, I thought what I was thinking, I don't know. I was thinking of this out of order because Dylan hasn't left yet. Any Dylan or Outie Dylan, whatever, has not left. So this has got to just be before they came in. But I guess Mark is generally there
early.
Before, yeah, because she calls out Mark. She doesn't seem surprised that Dylan's not there.
Well, I don't know, or that she would definitely ask for Mark first. He's the boss, supervisor, and he's the But
also she cares about Mark. I mean, let's be honest, that's why she wants him.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little like, whatever. You're the first person at work. Has that never happened before? Like, right?
Yeah, maybe not. But at any rate, she's worried about Mark. Golden Child says, do you mean the physical death of Gemma or the fact that she'll no longer be the Gemma Mark remembers? I was kind of thinking physical death, but now that you said that, yeah, I don't know that necessarily does mean that, and you could be right. I kind of assumed like once Cold Harbor's over, whatever their experiment is they're trying to use her for will be over. Maybe they will have no use of her, period, but I don't know. I mean, maybe at that point she'll be like I thought she was before, any only, and there'll be no more Gemma and only these severed personalities. Who knows? Winter Luncher says, imagine Drummond goes to James and says, Daddy, Milchick hurt my feelings. He does call him father. We talked about that in the other episode, but that would be funny. I'd like to see that. So Haley goes to, after she don't see him. Okay. No, first it flips to Mark. Sorry. Let's see. He wakes up and he's with Devin and she's kind of like asking, I guess she's worried, like, is he still him or is he still reintegrating? Because she asks if I'm me or a copy machine. I would have loved him to have been to tell her she's a copy machine. I just think that would have been funny. But when he answers her, she says, sorry, the wind was whistling over the hole in the back of your skull, so I didn't quite get that. Did you just call my play mistake? Because he says it's a mistake. They're going to Cobell. Sorry, I skipped the part. He says that they told Cobell everything and she didn't tell them anything and they can't trust her. And
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. You're right. He's not wrong. And he's saying this could be a trap. And Devin's basically like, yeah, it could be, but we have no other choice. There's no place to go.
Well, and so Justin asked, why does Devin have complete trust in Cobell? Wasn't their last interaction with Cobell almost kidnapping her kid? Did I miss something? Yeah. So I don't like, it does seem like she trusts Cobell more than she should. But Jamie, as you said in this scene, and I think maybe again later, she's like, look, we don't have a choice. Like we can't, like she says it again later. She's like, we can't get in there. There's no way to get inside there. We can't, we have no choice. This is the only person we can talk to. But she has seemed and does seem kind of trusting of Cobell, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't disagree with, I don't know if
I don't either. Although
I don't know if I would say complete trust, but there's more trust than she should have, is there, right?
Yeah. Although, to be fair, I think she knows she didn't actually try to kidnap her kid. She just left to get out of there and left the kid sitting in the room, which was still not okay that she left the baby without somebody watching it. But she didn't actually take the baby. But everything else she did was some bullshit there. But yeah, I mean, right now she's like, I need to take care of my brother and save him because, you know, she did brain surgery on him. I don't know what the hell's going on. So it's kind of like the lesser of two evils, I guess, or I don't want to say two evils because I don't think she thinks Bobby's evil, but Ragabi left because she got mad at her because she called Cobell. So yeah, it's all she has right now.
Well, here's another good question, Justin. Why does Devin sound like she knows what's going on?
I read people think that Devin's in on something. I was reading today on Facebook. I don't think so, but she does kind of sound like she knows what she's doing. I think she just made a choice of what she's going to try to do, and she thinks this cabin is the answer. And I don't know. When I watched this the first time, I had written in my notes like, why does she think that the cabin's going to help? After watching it again, like I get it, but I don't know. At the time, I was a little confused, I guess.
Well, I mean, they go to the cabin because you can. It's a severed environment, and the innie can be brought forward, right? But like, how did exactly. Why does Dylan? How did Dylan pull that together? Like, okay, Dylan's been there, and she met this woman there, right? But I feel like, wow, that was a lot for Dylan to put together.
It was a big jump. I would agree with that. It was a big jump. So Milchek, they get there. Cobell's not there yet. But I'm so used to looking for license plates. I took a picture, but it didn't say anything important. She's not there yet. Milchek starts calling. Again, an iPhone.
Well, it's on Apple.
No, I know. But was that you or Lori I told about? I can't remember what I was saying about villains not supposedly don't have iPhones in shows. They're not allowed to. I had read that Apple... That's like a thing, but this is an Apple show, so I guess all bets are off.
Too much Surface. Like they're always having the login screen for an iPad showing on Surface, and right, and they're like using their iPad to like steal millions of dollars in Bitcoin and make sex tapes on their iPhone, right? Like Surface.
Yeah, no, they do use it a lot in Apple shows, but I don't know. To quickly paraphrase what I had said before, I thought it was two. It might have been to Lori. I had read an article, and it seems that there's a consensus that apparently some director on something that was doing a TV show basically said that they had to like agree if they were putting Apple products in that a villain could never use an Apple product. And that's why sometimes in shows like the villain will have a Samsung or something and everybody else has an Apple. I don't know how true that is, but I had read about it and some people believe it's true, but it also said if it's an Apple show, that doesn't necessarily matter. I only bring it up because Devin does not have an Apple phone, which I do not think Devin's bad, but I'm just mentioning it now because, we were saying, why does Devin seem to know what she's doing? But she tells him not to answer it, and he doesn't. Then Helly goes in to talk to Milchek, asking about Mark, because he's been gone now. This is the second day in a row. And he won't answer her, but she's like, he had a nosebleed. Is he okay? And she uses the excuse he's department chief. But, I mean, he's not stupid enough not to get she likes him. So she really could have just said, I'm worried about him. But she doesn't. And he says that Dylan is department chief in his absence. And I like this line when Helly says to him, it's like you and Cobell replaced one part with another. Because obviously that's what they did. And Cobell was above him. So she's making him seem unimportant. But he yells at her and says it's enough. And she's like, calls her Helly R. And she's like, don't you mean Helly E? And he tells her that Helena Egan is my employer. You're my subordinate. This constitutes insubordination. And she's like, yeah, no shit. I like this scene. And I like that she's talking back to him. Although I do think Milchek is kind of opening up and changing a bit. But I do like that she yells at him. And then he tells her to leave the door open and she slams it. Let's see.
Yeah, a lot has been made about this shot, which you have kind of cut off here, but unless you have it, the picture over the top of his head is an iceberg.
Yeah, I have it later. I don't know if I have it in this scene, but when he's looking at it later, it's there.
Maybe we'll talk.
There, you can see it there.
A lot has been made about that picture where, an iceberg, only 10% of what's going on is on the surface, and most of the iceberg is hidden from view. And
not like Lumen, I think.
No, I think like Milchek, like you're talking about Milchek, whatever. I think like there's so much of Milchek is under the surface, and so much of it comes across by Trammell what's Tramel's last name? Tramel Tide.
You're asking me that? My memory is as bad as yours.
That's my thing. I got
No, I know. I've told you, the older I get, the less I remember. His name's Tramel, but I can't remember his last name now that you said that. Tramel Tillman. Tramel Tillman.
Tramel Tillman. I mean, he's incredible in this whole entire episode. He's amazing. Well,
he's amazing in the series. I mean,
he is. This episode is incredible. And when I talk about when we talk about what's going on beneath the surface, like we only get that idea because Tramel Tillman is so amazing that he like conveys that with like almost no dialogue, right?
He's very like, it seems like he's holding stuff back all the time.
Yeah.
That would be the way I would describe it. So yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. But he's not happy with Hilly. And like I said, he tells her to leave the door open and she immediately slams it.
Oh, look, James says Ben Stiller went to Apple for permission to use another type of phone.
See, I thought it was they couldn't use Apple for film, but I don't know. They tend to otherwise always use Apple, so I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just an interesting thing I had picked up when I was looking at stuff. Because usually everybody has Apple. So up here, Gretchen talks to Dylan. Dylan's innie, sorry, and she tells him that she told her husband, and I love at the first. Dylan sometimes is a little I don't know. He doesn't think things through, and he's like, "Was he happy for us?" Like, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case.
He's a little naive, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, he's naive, and he's like, because he's like, "He should be. I'm making you happy," and she's like, "No." So I can't see you anymore. He threatened to quit. He still might. But she says it's her fault. She shouldn't have come there. And Dylan's like, gets upset and says no, that his life started when she came there. And she tries to tell me he has other things going for him. And he's like, no, I have nothing else. I have this and pencil erasers.
Not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I like Dylan. So he gets down on one knee. And he has a ring he's made. I think it's out of paper. It looks like the old printer paper with the holes on the side, like when you rip the sides off it. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
But he's made a ring out of it, and he's like proposing to her. And he says, I know. I love this line though, because he says, Gretchen G, I love you. I know I'm just an innie, but I love you all the way. That's sweet. It's sappy, but it's sweet. Yeah. And he says he can give her a life. And she does cry, but says she's sorry. So she's clearly really moved and feels really bad because she feels like it's her fault because she swore to let him on, and she kind of did. I get it, but yeah, I get it. So now they're both upset. Whoops. And he screams. I like the way he screamed. It's like, Gretchen. So he's very upset. Why did he scream like that? Because he was upset. Poor Dylan. He's sad.
I mean, I felt sorry for both of them in this scene.
Yeah, I did too.
I felt very sorry for Dylan when he says, "Oh no, I don't have anything." It's like when he was just in season 1, he was all about the perks and he wanted to earn like the perks and the waffle party and stuff, and like he didn't know that he was missing
something better.
Yeah, he didn't know there was more, right? And Milchick like rigs up this like reward to, I don't know why, to control him. It really, now that he's seen what he can't have, like this life is so much less fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
It's really, he did straight up, real talk, Dylan straight up screeched like a hyena.
He did.
It was poor guy. He's in so much pain. It was really sad. I mean, proposing was okay. That was she's married and
to him.
and that would be cheating and bigamy or whatever, or
I don't know. Can you get arrested for bigamy if you're married to your husband twice? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Dylan clearly hasn't thought out about like what kind of life they would have. She just comes and visits once in a while, right? Like, I mean,
but that's more than he has, more than he knows.
Yeah. And it makes me think about this. I don't know. Well, we'll see what he's now he's going to quit, right? This goes into the next scene where Helly walks in, right? Is that the next scene? Yeah.
I think so. And I was going to say I said before early on in the season, I thought that this was not going to go well and it was going to backfire. I think it was not a good idea. But yeah, because now, like, I almost feel like this could make him not care about his job at all and completely do what he wants and ignore them because he's not going to see her again. And I think the fact that he sees, Mark found Helly kind of doesn't help because they're happy and he kind of wants that. And
okay, that's a lot that you packed into one sentence. Like Mark found Helly and they're happy.
I'm just saying that I think sometimes that I don't want to necessarily say jealous, but I think he wants that connection. And I think he felt like he had that connection and it's being taken away from him.
I disagree. I don't think he saw Mark and Helly and said, "Oh, I want that too."
I don't think he necessarily thought that before, but I think now, and I think that's part of why he's sort of taking it out on Helly because he's kind of like, you got somebody. I don't know. I just
really disagree, and I think Dylan and Gretchen, Dylan and Gretchen, have a more. I get that more than Mark and Helly, and it is. I mean, Mark and Helly, that is a screwed up thing going on there where he didn't recognize who just because they had sex once underneath the table doesn't make me think that they're happy. I wouldn't say they're happy, and I wouldn't say that's something that Dylan emulates. I think what Dylan had or thought he had with Gretchen is way more stable.
Yeah, it is.
Than what
I'm not disagreeing with that.
I just disagree with you that I don't think what happens in this next scene is him being jealous.
No, I don't think that's why. I'm just saying I think that he could come to resent her because of that.
I think he's angry at her because of who she is. That he's like, you put us here. You're an Egan. Like you are an Egan.
Yeah,
and he's maybe just lashing out. Whoever walked through that door was going to be the person that took the lashing.
That's true. He probably would have yelled no matter what. But he looks at the ring and then I think that's from a dot matrix printer. He looks at it and then it flips to him looking at it when Helly's there. And she's really trying to help him. And she's like, you should keep the ring and give it to someone you meet down here. And that's when he says, it's just O&D and the goat people, which I love. But
and Helly says that we know
and I think that's implying there could be more people. And I think it would be not surprising if we met more people next season. So
it's a terrible thing to say. It's like saying what you break up with your boyfriend and says, "Oh, you'll meet someone new. There's plenty of fish in the sea." That's what she's saying.
It is. I think she's trying to help.
Has anybody ever said that to you when your heart was broken, and was it helpful? No.
Right. But I still think she's trying to help, even if it's not helpful. I think she's trying to say, she doesn't know what to say, but I think she's trying to say something.
What she's saying,
and she says to him when he says about it's his wife, she says that it's not your wife, and she doesn't say no, it's your Audie's wife. She says it's not your wife because no one would treat someone they love the way she treats you. Like all the Audies treat us like everything's for them. So it's just kind of showing her frustration and. Dylan says,
that's 100% truth right there. Everything is for the Audies.
It is. And he says, yeah, but there's nothing we can do about it because we're stuck down here with no lives and no family. And that's when she's like, well, Irving was your family. And she was probably going to say, we're your family. But he gets mad. And, and she says he left him the message. And she says, I don't know where it leads, but he thought it was important. And they convinced you to turn your back on him for some Audie woman you don't even know. That's where she says that. And
she's right, but that lights the fire, right?
Yeah. And he says, it's your fault we're down here at all. And she's like, it's not. And Dylan says, if we're so different from our Audies, then how come we couldn't tell you weren't you? And she's like, Irving could. And he's like, yeah, but Mark couldn't. That was mean to say back. He got her back there. And he's like, sorry, I guess I'm an asshole down here too. Now, I have a note here because I think, she's okay with her husband Innie getting married and pretty much sleeping with someone else on the inside.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but she also sees them as separate people because she is an Innie. So I'm assuming they mean Helly. Yeah. But I have written here, I think that this scene is important because if you think about it, like, he's upset because he wants to believe that he's the same as his Audi, that they are one person. In this instance, I feel like he is saying, it's still me, it's still my wife. Like, that's how he feels because he's upset. Where Helly is coming from the opposite side because she feels that they're the opposite. She wants them to be an opposite. I don't want to be like Helena. I always say Helena. I'm not her. So that's kind of why they're clashing, because they're both they're both wanting the opposite thing. And I think that it's, paralleling that.
Yeah, you're right. He wants to be the same as his Audi. She wants nothing to do with her Audi.
Yeah. Let's see. She let him off the hook too easy. He revealed he's been betraying them. You mean with seeing, I'm assuming, All City, that you means with seeing Gretchen.
Yeah, he got this secret perk that nobody else gets.
Yeah, and she does say he made you turn your back on Irving, so she clearly knows it. But yeah, I know she knows he's upset too. But you're right. She should maybe be a little bit upset about that, and she's not. I hadn't even thought about it, but she's not.
Yeah, she's when she says, like, they made you turn your back on him for some Audi we don't even know, she's laying that on Dylan, on Lumen, right? She's like, oh, Lumen. She does let him on. Yeah, she's not like, by the way, you were sneaking around with this person, not telling us that they right? Like, yeah.
I think that does show, though, that it's Helly, that she's still trying to be compassionate. But you're right. Let's see. Muncher says, no, I was referring to Gretchen. Gretchen told Innie Dylan to get married at Lumen.
Gretchen? Oh yeah, Gretchen told Innie, you'll find somebody new down here. She did. She didn't Gretchen also didn't Gretchen also say that he could find somebody else? Yeah.
Okay, I remember now, because she said she's okay with her husband's Innie getting married, pretty much sleeping with someone else. That is a good comment. That's a little. Yeah. I hadn't really thought about that.
So I wonder. So, like, we talked earlier about Dylan saying, oh, don't use my own body to cheat on me, right? But Luncher is saying, like, but would she be okay with
yeah, she said it, but I don't think she would be.
I mean, at least Dylan would be cheating with his own wife, but she's okay with him on the inside, like, doing God knows what down below, right?
Yeah, to be fair, though, she knows she's married to her husband and remembers him as her husband. He doesn't. Like, to him, he's the other personality. But yeah, I don't think she would be as okay with it as she makes out to be.
Yeah, that she's like, okay, get married to someone else and sleep with whoever else on the inside. That would be like
not okay. Yeah,
using his body to cheat on her. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Gretchen. I call her Gretchen. That's going to be her name forever. Gretchen.
Yeah, Gretchen and Milkshake. No, I'm just sorry. It's we've been on for over an hour, so I probably should do my little thing. Please, I'm going to get a drink of water first.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, please like the video, subscribe, and please comment on the videos too when we're not during the live, because they help the algorithm more than the chat does for some stupid reason that YouTube decided. But please, you can check out all of our previous live streams, of course, under the live tab, as well as interviews. We have interviews for Severance there from and stuff under the video tab as well. And please come back tomorrow at 6:00 in Discord. We have a watch party for Yellow Jackets, followed by 7 Eastern. Nia Sandaya, who plays Aquila in Yellow Jackets, is going to be a guest on our show tomorrow night, and that'll be followed by our live stream. And of course, we also have our roundup show on Tuesday. So yeah, Tuesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays right now. But please like and subscribe, and I'll add this episode to the playlist too. I don't think I have this one added to the Severance playlist yet, but I put all the Severance stuff together.
I think we have a newcomer in our chat. Polar Nights. It's a show about people they have an implant in their brain that allows them to have when they go to work during the day, it's like a separate blocked off version of their personality in their brain. So they call it the innie, is the person at work doesn't remember anything from outside, and the outie goes about the rest of life for 16 hours a day, and doesn't know anything about what their job is. And when I first started watching it, I assumed they were going to have some sort of classified top secret intelligence they were working on, and that's why. But that's not why.
Well, to be fair, we don't know why, but not completely.
Yeah.
But yes, welcome. Whoops, wrong.
No.
Yeah, no, that is okay. They work, so they're not federal workers. No, they don't appear to be. We don't know what their work actually means because all their work is kind of
federal workers work. Okay, we no political commentary in our chat tonight. Thank you.
No, but oh yeah, I guess that could have been taken that way. I didn't take it that way. But no, we don't actually know what they do because it's encoded to us as viewers as numbers.
Yeah.
But something one has to do this way. Yeah, kind of like Limbo.
And we highly recommend that you get started on season 1 and watch it all and catch up with us.
Yeah. I'm not sure in Severance you could just jump in the middle of the second season. You might be a little confused, but it's a really good show. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, it's like a Limbo office, kind of. Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't watch Severance, though, like I said, on Sunday we have our Yellow Jacket show, and on Tuesday we have our roundup of all the other stuff from the week, which we have World Time. Is that right? Wheel of Time. I knew that was wrong. I'm like, World of Time. Yeah. We have Wheel of Time this week too, so we have something new on Tuesday. Muncher Luncher said Gretchy, Holly, Marky,
Irby, Dilly,
Milchicky. I like Milchicky. That's great. I like that. All right. So,
I mean, so Helly's feelings are pretty hurt, especially when, he's like, well, we didn't even recognize you. And she says, Irv did. And he says, yeah, well, Mark didn't, which is like really like putting the dagger in Helly's heart. He says it I guess to be mean, right?
Yeah, he did say to be mean. He's hurt. He's hurting.
Yeah.
But she doesn't get mad. I think she's, and that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, she should kind of be mad at him, but she's not, which I think shows that it is really Helly. In case anybody is,
Is she not? Sure. I mean, they cut it off, but.
What?
They cut right to Cobell. Like,
they did, but
she doesn't respond.
She doesn't.
I don't think that doesn't mean she's not mad.
I guess that's fair. But I mean, no, I meant she's not mad about Dylan betraying them. I meant like she had forgiven them,
as she should be.
Yes, Paul City. He said, "Guess I'm an asshole down here too." So he clearly doesn't like his rowdy.
Poor thing.
Yeah. So Cobell. Okay, so Cobell does meet up with them. And let's see, she asked Mark, how are you? And he's like, so good. My wife's being held prisoner at Lumen, and I just got brain surgery in my basement. How you doing? Or how you been? She's trying to say that they're allies now. And
there's no need to be rude.
Yeah, Mark's is rude and he's sarcastic. And he's like, I thought we were neighbors. So the idea is Devin wants her to take them to the birthing center. I know, it's so itchy. Or birthing cabin, I'm sorry. So that he can talk to his innie. And
so they can talk to his innie.
So they can, so he can and they can. I think so they can.
How can he talk to his own innie? That's not like a split personality talking to each other.
Let's see. Where'd I go? I swear I have more questions, and he says once they're taken. So I don't know. I have written down he can talk to his innie. That's what she said, I think, because that's what I have. But it's possible I wrote it wrong. But she says not yet. We have to go under the cover of darkness. It's perilous, so they have to wait for night. And she says she don't know if Mark completed the Cold Harbor file yet, which we know he's at 96%, so he has not. And she says that if he's completed it, Gemma's already dead. So this is where I said earlier, I'm not sure if completing the Cold Harbor file somehow triggers Gemma's death, if it means they will kill her, they don't need her anymore. And like, I forget, one of the people in the chat suggested, does it maybe just mean the version of version of Gemma that Mark knows will die? I don't know. But I think it's not a good thing for Mark at any rate. So we don't want him to finish.
I mean, I have been assuming they're just going to kill her.
That's what I assume too.
I mean, we don't really know that. They could just turn her into Miss what's her name, and Casey, just Miss Casey, and maybe like Gemma ceases to exist because Miss Casey just becomes 100% of the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It might just be she won't have an outie anymore. Excuse me. Justin says it'd be cool if they all talked to their innies. Yeah. It'd be cool if they could.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did we hit any of these?
But we saw there's like no way to get a message out. So Helly tried every way you can to get a message out to her outie, right?
Yeah.
There's no way to get a
Although
message.
her outie did, I mean, technically she kind of talked to her. They left a message, but this is where she says, la, 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 la. Okay, so Mark starts getting upset because he doesn't want to trust her, but Devin tries to calm him down. And Cobell says to call Mr. Milchek and tell him you're unwell and not coming in today. Because if he smells
chicanery.
We always do it at the same time. Stop
it.
I'm sorry. He smells chicanery, which I've never heard of.
You've never heard chicanery?
No.
Oh yeah,
no,
chicanery
is restaurant. To be honest, I don't know why it makes me think of Chili's or something. I don't know.
No, chicanery. It means like
that there's something up. I mean, I know what it means. I've never heard it before. Let's see. I lost
the use of trickery.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But Devin's trying to calm him down. Now he says, do you have any idea how insane she is? Do you know what she did? What do you think he's specifically referring to? Because I kind of questioned it when he said that. Like, do you know what she did? He doesn't know anything she did, does he? Or is he just mean in general, like she's a bad person?
Yeah, I mean, she was his neighbor, and then she almost kidnapped the baby. She lied and surveilled him. Right? She lied for months or years about who she was living next door.
Oh, wait, this is Mark. Yeah. Okay, Mark does know she kidnapped the baby, but yeah.
She surveilled
I don't know. The way he said that about what she did, it makes it more to me sound like he means one, like a specific. I don't know. I just wondered when he said that. But he doesn't want to trust her is the idea. And Devin tells him that he has to because they don't have another option.
Yeah, they have no choice.
And I took way too many pictures of this scene.
Yeah.
He's yelling at her there. Okay, that's where she's trying to convince him. Sorry. Okay, so Helly goes into the break room and goes over to the hang in there poster with Dylan on it. And as they have the scene, Dylan, meanwhile, is swearing and walking down the hallway. But she gets the paper out that she knew that was in there that Irving had wrote about the directions to get to the testing floor. I don't know if it's important. I would say not, but I did mark it down when I first watched it, that she does call him Irving and not Irv, which generally the innies call him Irv, but I still think it's Helly. I thought, why did she say Irving? But it is his name, so I don't know that it matters. Let's see. Just Me says it's hard. Was this, maybe we did this before when we were
we already.
Okay, sorry, we already did that. We already did that.
If you want to do them, you can do them. Or
no, that's okay. I didn't realize we did. That is why I unstored them. Although I don't think that one was stored. I think I just clicked on it. Let's see. Got to use Puglish. Yeah. That was from the Lexington letters, wasn't it? The Puglish, I think.
Yeah, I didn't read the Lexington letters.
No, I know you didn't. I'm just saying I think that was part of that story. But there she's looking at the directions. Let's see. And he's upset. I said that. There's the drawing. And then meanwhile, Irving and Radar are in the car with Bert. And Bert says he wants him to know that he's never hurt anybody, that he drove people's places, and he didn't ask what happened to him, but he never actually hurt anybody. And he's like, is that what today is? So clearly he's still worried, with probably good reason. Now, Dylan is filling out this resignation form, and it has all these things like the reasons why, and he's like marking all of them: anger, fatigue, freedom, loneliness. annoyance. I forget what it is. I don't know. He's not happy. Guilt. Yeah. Milchak says that it's disappointed and reeks of ingratitude.
Yeah, what exactly does Dylan have to be grateful for? I mean, it's really like this is one of those times when Milchik is so like condescending and so, and the look on his face is just so
he's
scornful.
in a bad mood. I think that he's like saying, I gave you all this. I let you talk to Gretchen. You should be grateful, is kind of what he's saying.
Oh, that stuff.
I think Milchik might also not want him to do this because he knows that Drummond's going to get pissed off again. He needs to keep them in line.
I don't read that in Milchik's face, though.
Well, I don't know if I think he knows that Drummond will get mad. I don't know how much he cares about that. I think he just is like, I did all this for you. And, I've said before, sometimes I've thought this season that maybe Milchik is starting to see them more human than he did before. And maybe he does kind of feel like, I was nice to you. I let you talk to your Audie's wife. But it wasn't a nice thing. I'm not saying it was.
Jimmy, that's like a slaveholder saying, I was nice to you. I gave you a shitty cabin to live in.
Okay, well, right? I said it wasn't a nice thing. I said it wasn't a nice thing, but I said, I think he's saying, I did all this for you. And I wonder that he feels like, to him, he thinks that he was being nice. I don't know.
I don't think Milchik thinks Milchik was being nice, because I don't think any of it was ever about doing anything nice. It was about manipulating and controlling him.
Yeah.
It was about controlling
Dylan. Trying to make it seem like, let's put it that way.
I always thought from the beginning that this perk they offered to Dylan was about controlling him, manipulating him, and separating him from the other team members.
Yes. But he thinks he's telling Dylan he should be grateful for it, is what I'm saying. Like, he's like,
Yeah, but I don't think Milchik really.
No, but he's saying, like, I gave you this and you're being ungrateful. And
yeah, it's another form of manipulation and abuse that they suffer nonstop in the Severance.
Yeah, and Dylan's pretty much like, too bad, and throws the key card at him. So he tells him to go to the elevator and wait. And this is where Miss Huang says, sorry, Dylan G, I should have facilitated better. And he tells her that's enough. What do you think that was about? Because she also looked at them as not human. And I'm not sure if that apology is real, because she seems to maybe feel a little bad, but I didn't know, because part of me thought maybe not. It might just be another.
I mean, she looks almost like she's going to cry.
She did, yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, so I don't really know if she looked at them like they're not human.
Well, she made that comment before about not to let them have a funeral because it makes them think they're human. I'm referring to that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, that could be straight out of the textbook, and what she's been taught, and maybe being around them since that happened early in the season. So maybe you're right. Being around them, she's starting to change how she feels about them. She also has been very. I think she's not happy about being sent away, right?
Yeah.
Like so she maybe I should have facilitated better. Maybe they both wouldn't be leaving.
Yeah, she could be.
I don't know. Right. This is a weird episode because she never seemed like a person that was nice or that I would care about what she thought. And now I just talked about it for 5 minutes, what she thinks. And right. And I was like, wait, is she leaving the show? Which, if she's leaving,
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, almost, what was the point of even having her on the show?
Well, at any rate, she thinks she's leaving them.
Yeah.
I mean, whether she will be back or not, we don't know. But she's supposed to be leaving and going to Norway. But you're right. She probably didn't want to leave. But the whole city says she should not let him get all kissy face. She did. Yeah. Maybe Milchek. That's, to be fair, Milchek might have said, don't let him get too close, and she did. We don't know. Yeah. But she's taking accountability. She is. The juxtaposition of Dylan being so nice to Miss Huang and the Lumen Jackass being so racist and cruel to Milkshake was too much. Milkshake, I don't think they can fix.
That's him. Drummond. That's Drummond that was so racist and mean to Milkshake. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been saying from the beginning of the season, I think that eventually Milchek is going to end up helping them on their side. I think that they're going too far, pissing them off. At least Drummond is, I think. I don't think I put this up yet. I was about to before, and then I got sidetracked. Just Me said that at the Ortbo, Helena called Irving. Yeah, I think she did. I still think it's Helly though, but it was a little strange she said that. But I mean, it may have just been the actress said it that way. They didn't change it to. It could not necessarily mean.
I mean, Jimmy, you have discussed at length your belief that Helena watched videos of Helly in preparation for impersonating her. In which case, she would have known whether they call him Merv or Irving.
Yeah, but this is Helly saying it. Supposed to be Helly, and that's why I'm saying why Helly's saying Irving. But yeah, you're right. I think if Helena said Irving, I think it was a clue to viewers that it was Helena. But Helly seeing it, I still think it's Helly. I mean, I could be wrong. We could find out it's Helena again. I more or less think it's Helly because I don't think they do that a second time. I just can't see them doing the flip up. Yeah. Muncher says they need to shave Drummond's comb for bowl cut. I think it's the source of his powers. He does have a funny haircut. All City says, where can y'all see her story go? I don't know. I mean, I assume if she leaves, she won't be in the show.
I really think that her entire purpose of this season was setting up for the reveal that Mrs. Cobell had what do they call it? The Wintertide Fellowship. Like, I think this entire thing was just to set up when Sissy mentions it in last week's episode. Now we get a clue about Mrs. Cobell Harmony's life in Lumen. And I don't think we see Mrs. Huang again. Miss Huang again.
It probably was the way that she was treated, type of thing.
And the indoctrination of people since they're children to work in this organization. And I don't.
We know she worked when she was really young too.
I don't see Miss Huang coming back personally.
Yeah. I like her though. I mean, I'm sad she'll be going, but
I mean, I don't like her or not like her.
Well, I mean, I like the actress. Like, I don't dislike the character, but she probably isn't coming back. Justin says, I think Helly and Helena are the same person who somehow split in two. It would be interesting if maybe she's something different. I don't know what that is or what that looks like, but because I did say earlier about, like, it kind of made me wonder with all the blue if it was possible Helly was there instead of Helena, especially with the comment that her father makes later. But to me, it does not make sense for Helly to be in the outside world.
Aren't all the innies and outies the same person who somehow got split in two?
Well, I'm guessing in a different way, but maybe not. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. That's why I said maybe it's something different. Maybe they're more maybe she's more integrated than they are. I mean, because her chip was, like, I think one of the prototypes, wasn't it?
No, why do you think that?
Because she was, I thought, one of the first ones. I thought they said one of the first. Maybe I'm wrong. I was thinking for some reason she was one of the first ones that got severed. Maybe not.
No.
I don't know. Golden Child says, did Outie Mark always call Milchek Mr. Milchek or Seth? Because I noticed Outie Mark called him Mr. Milchek at the end of the episode.
Yeah, he calls him Mr. Milchek in season 1. In season 1, when he calls him to say he's out, this was a subject of much debate on the internet, and I read a bunch of it. He does call him Mr. Milchek in season 1. I don't think they knew his name was Seth until the Ortbo when.
Well, the names definitely didn't. But
let me finish in the Ortbo when Irving is drowning Helly, and she says, yes, Seth, like, stop the Glasgow block or whatever. She calls him Seth, and Irving says, yes, Seth, do it. And I think he just says it because, like, aha, we found out your name.
Yeah, but that was the innies, not the outies. He's asking about the outie, not the innie.
Oh, no, he did. Yes, he always called him Mr. Milchek. In season 1, he calls him Mr. Milchek.
I think him calling him Milchek or Mr. Milchek is more like a respect thing. He's his boss. I don't think he would call him Seth. Like, Helena calls him Seth because Helena's his boss.
I mean, I have a job that I've always called him my boss.
Well, but I'm saying it. I think that's why he calls him Milchek in this. I'm not saying all jobs are like that.
It's a 1950s style of corporate environment, but yes, in short, yes, Golden Child.
They're not friends either. It's not like
short, he called him that since season 1.
So yes is the answer to that. Okay. I lost where they.
Well,
Okay.
this is just the end of
Yeah.
this scene.
Okay. This is the next scene's with Drummond. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. So he leaves. He says he doesn't blame her, and she does seem to maybe be, thinking that that there's more to them. Why does this not stay playing? I don't understand why when I have the YouTube on, like it doesn't stay live. It's weird. Hold on. So I want it live so I see the chat. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with it. I give up. I give up. Okay, so the next scene is with Drummond and Milchek, where Drummond asks Milchek, so this is tightening the leash. Our most vital refiner is missing in the wind on what would be Lumen's finest day. So again, more mention of how important Cold Harbor is. I mean, it's whatever it is, it's something big to Lumen. And he is blaming Milchek. And then Milchek's saying, I followed protocol. And he says, but thank you for your remonstration. And this is where Drummond yells at him for using complex speech again and makes him apologize. And he's very, very condescending here, very nasty. And Milchek stands up to him and says what I think is probably the best line of the night when he says, devour feculence. And he's like, it means eat shit, Mr. Drummond. And he says, I'm the manager of the severed floor, which means you owe me respect. And that also it's his jurisdiction. And he's like, to put that monosyllable, so I don't even know if I can say it monosyllabically.
Got it.
It's not my fault that Mark's not at work. It's yours. And then he walks away. So that was an awesome scene. I love that scene.
I hated this scene because really? I was so uncomfortable. Like the abuse, like Drummond just abusing Milchek and being like, say, apologize, shorter, again. Like it really is very uncomfortable.
No, you're right. I should say I like him fighting back is the part I like, not what Drummond did. I like that he's like, eat shit. He finally told him off, like he's needed to do.
Well, and he's right that I'm not in charge of I'm in charge of the severed floor. I don't know what he does when he's not at work. Like that's not my fault. And it was like, kind of weird that Drummond, like he's like, Mark's not here. This is all your fault. And he never says like, oh, and by the way, another guy just quit. Like that, right?
Well, he may not know yet what happened. I mean, Drummond probably doesn't know yet. Let's see. I'm not okay. Just me thinks Cold Harbor is the loss of a child. Cobell looks weirdly at Mark when she says Cold Harbor. I thought maybe it's the name of the baby items or baby furniture. I know some people think that maybe it has something to do with her trying to get pregnant. I don't know. I don't know that would be something important to Lumen. So I would say I don't necessarily think that, just because I don't see why Lumen would care.
You don't think Gemma being taken has anything to do with them trying to have a baby? That's absolutely where they found her.
Huh? No, yes. But I mean, I don't think she's saying that she thinks Cold Harbor is about, I think what just me means, because I've heard other people say it, is they think Gemma's pregnant and they're going to terminate she means terminate the pregnancy. And I'm saying, I don't see why Cold Harbor would be about a baby, because I don't see why Gemma's baby would be in any way important to Lumen.
How did Gemma
Cold Harbor thing is important.
How would Gemma get pregnant?
Well, maybe before she went into, but that's true. She's been there for
2.5 years. I mean, an elephant has a baby faster than that.
Yeah, no, you're right. So unless she was with somebody else in there, like that doctor or something, or she could have been inseminated, I guess. But I don't know. I personally just don't think that makes sense. At least to me, it doesn't. And I
don't think that's the show we're watching where she's.
Yeah, like I said, the other thing is whatever this is important, and I don't see why Lumen cares about Gemma's potential kid. I just don't. Justin says, I don't think you can cheat on Hallie with Helena or vice versa. They're the same person. We've had this discussion at length. I think it depends how you look at whether they're the same person or not. I look at them as different people, but I keep losing where I'm at. Okay. So anyway, my point was I like that Milchick stood up for himself, was what I was trying to say. I like that he told him off. I enjoyed seeing him tell Mr. Drummond off. So back to them. Let's see. Mark, she did told him to call Milchick, and he finally calls him. And Mark makes up some bullshit about being worried about the nosebleeds, and he drove to the clinic in Soil Hill, which is actually a real place, but in like the UK or something like that. So I'm not sure if they just, maybe somebody liked that name. I don't know. But he says they're going to do some more tests. And Milchick's, he uses the idea. He's like, well, tell me where you are. I'll send you a car. We should be taking care of it. And Mark kind of, I don't know if he panicked maybe a little, but he didn't know what to say. And then suddenly he's like, you know what? No, I just don't want to be there. I'm taking a me day is basically what he says, right?
Yes.
He's like, I'm not sick. I just needed the day. And he's like, can I ask why? Says, no, it's personal.
This is why everyone who's ever worked in an office knows when you call in fake sick to work, do not make up stuff about why you're sick. Just say, I need to take today off. I'm not well. I won't be in. Like when you start making up, I got the flu, I got this, I got that. Like then that's when you start getting in trouble, right? Mark was like, it was the classic mistake of like making up a lie that has too much information.
Giving too much information. Too much information. Yeah. So he's like, I need just a day for me. You guys are always Lumen's always talking about that work-life balance. It's just work. You know what I mean? And this is where Milchick is looking at his glacier picture or whatever.
His iceberg,
iceberg, and says that yes, he knows what he means, and he says, promise me you'll be back into work tomorrow, and he promises he'll be there. So I think Milchick did his duty in bringing him back, or at least he thinks he did. Mark kind of seems surprised, though, with good reason, why he was like, oh, okay. I mean, he basically left it let alone, so he should have done that from the beginning. There's the picture. Now,
I mean, that picture, so in that scene, that picture could have, I talked about its symbolism of there being more to Milchick than meets the eye, but this really could kind of reflect that there's like Mark's lying. Like there's way more to what's going on than Mark is letting on, right? Like Mark, whatever Mark is doing is the tip of the iceberg kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. And does he suspect? I don't know. Someone said in the chat, and a lot of people agreed with it, which I don't see, that Milchick had a tear running down his face in this scene. I sure don't see it. I don't think he looks upset, and I don't know where that came from. But I'm just going to say I don't see it, rather than going into it, because I don't even see reference to that. But anyway,
I have it on my TV right now. I'm waiting for the close-up.
Here, I can go back. There's a couple. There was a better close-up here. I don't know. I can't see it. I don't even think Milchick acts really upset. I think he acts like maybe he's thinking, yeah, I need a better work-life balance, but I don't really. Okay, see, All City says he thinks he was tearing up too, and a lot of people in the chat did. I mean, look, I would say maybe he seems like a little choked up a bit, but I definitely don't see a literal tear.
No, I don't see a literal tear on his face. His eyes did look a little shiny, like
a little misty.
Yeah,
but I definitely didn't see him crying.
I don't know. I'm over at it on my TV, and I don't see it.
If he is upset, I think it's just he's kind of like realizing that maybe his life isn't going so well. At least that's what I took it as. Luncher says he was 100% tearing up. He's thinking about Drummond Lumen beating him down. Well, I guess they disagree with it, which is totally cool. I don't know. I just didn't like. I think that, like I said, I think that he was maybe, to me, he was thinking like, I'm letting them, treat me like shit. Kind of like he's saying Mark is finally standing up for him. So maybe he's thinking about that. But I don't know if I quite took it. Not quite that to that extent, I guess. I didn't take it.
I wouldn't say Mark is finally standing up to him. That's not Mark S. That is Mark Scout calling in sick. He has not, right?
No, but I mean, I think maybe he's thinking of the fact that like Mark Scout standing up to him, like he's trying to stand up to Drummond, is what I'm saying. Like, not that Mark Scout hasn't necessarily in the past. I'm just, I don't know.
I just don't think calling in sick is standing up to them. And I don't think Mark Scout really has any background of not standing up. He just goes to work, doesn't know anything that goes on, and he comes home, right?
Yeah, just me's right. I think Milchick just doesn't give a fuck anymore. I think that's about
yes. Okay, yes, I think that
I agree with that. I think that's about right.
Best description of what's going on in this scene.
And I think that's why I've said before, I think Milchick next season is going to be a better help to them. I really do, because I think he's just kind of like with Lumen is at the point where he's like, especially to Drummond, where he's almost just kind of like, screw you, I'm done, you know? So yeah, I think he could end up, if Cobell is being honest and really trying to help Mark, I think Milchick could end up sort of in the same, and I don't know. I mean, I'm talking next season, but I've been saying this.
I do. I agree. I don't think he cares anymore. I don't think he's in the place where Harmony and the Innies are, that they want like actively to destroy Lumen or to
maybe not quite that far, right? But I think I told you before, I said I could see it in the future, like further in the future. I like Muncher Lecter says he's one waffle party away from going ballistic.
Yes, he
I
is.
would like to see that. And hi, Lori. Real Cinema Therapy. That's Lori, the one who co-hosted with me last week. It was fun. Says that everyone in MDR is done with Lumen. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know what they're going to do next season, because nobody is doing what they're supposed to do at this point. All right, so at the train station we go to. Bert gets a ticket for the train for Irving and tells him to take the line. The line goes as far as you can go, and for him to take it, but don't tell him where he's going to get off, and he can never come back to Kier.
So obviously that was a lie when Bert earlier said, well, I just dropped people off, but I don't know what happened to them. I mean, he clearly thinks Irving's life is in danger, and he has to, or knows Irving's life is in danger.
Yeah. I mean, he said, I never asked what happened to him. I think he knows they hurt people. I think he's saying, I think that was more when he said, I never asked him. I think that was more of a statement like somebody who isn't taking accountability, and they're like, well, I didn't do it. I knew they were hurting them, but I just didn't ask, like that kind of thing. And now he's like, I want you to go so they don't do something to you. But yeah, I think he definitely knew Lumen was hurting people. I think he just was saying he didn't personally hurt anybody, and he was trying to like say it wasn't his fault, kind of. That's how I took that.
Yeah.
But he's like, you can't ever come back. And then Irving's like, yeah, but won't Lumen come after you? And Bert says, you asked me why I was severed. I liked the idea that I could be innocent again, a part of me, and then my innocent part fell in love with you. And this is where Irving starts saying that I want to remember it. And he says, it's better they don't. And Irving says, where'd it go? He says that he's never been loved before, not really. And he's like, well, now you have. And he wants to know about it. And Bert's like, well, we can't do that. You know, he wants to know, I guess, the full experience of that. And I guess their outies are maybe starting to fall for each other a little bit, I guess, too. And he's kind of like, you know, I'm ready for this relationship. I don't want to leave. And Bert's like, you know, you have to, because they'll kill you. I mean, that's essentially what the scene is about.
I guess, but also, like, I'm married, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah, he is married, but I think that Bert, okay, Audie Irving confuses me. Why is he so attracted to Audie Bert? We saw any Bert and any Irving develop, but why is Audie Irving just going along for a ride, literally and figuratively? I mean, I feel that this scene is about the fact that Irving is saying, you know, I never had love. My Annie had love. I want that. And I think that Bert maybe is attracted to him, but he is married. He knows it can't happen. But he's just kind of like, you know, that's our Annies. We can't do that. You have to leave. They're going to kill you. But I do think that he feels something for Irving. I don't know that they're necessarily in love. I think that Irving wants to be in love, I guess, is more what I'm saying. Like Irving wants that relationship with Bert? Could they have had it? Would he have left his husband? Who the hell knows? It doesn't matter.
I don't think so.
I don't think he would have either, because I think Bert probably loves his husband too. I think that maybe Bert sees that he can see he could have been in love with Irving, I guess, is sort of the way I look at it.
So I think maybe in answer to this question, like I agree with all of that, Jamie. I also wonder if the show is saying something, implying something about people. We talk a lot about, is the innie the same person as the outie? Like, does it? So we saw innie Dylan fall in love with outie Dylan's wife. Although to be fair, even Dylan himself, innie Dylan said, "I only know like two people. Like I'm not really the only woman he knows, right?
Yeah.
Aside from Kelly." I don't know if they're trying to convey something to us about the innie and the outie.
And do they have, so are they connected enough that they could have the same feelings? Does his innie being in love with him mean his outie could be? I don't know. But what it does tell me is, I think it says there's trouble for Mark coming, because it makes me think that if it's implying that it's saying that, you know, if Mark truly loves Helly, if innie Mark truly loves innie Helly, then what does that say for outie Mark? I don't know.
Or Gemma, like like innie Mark did seem to,
or Mark and Helena. You're right, All City, same thing. Like I don't question.
I don't like where this is going about like them being fated to be, because they're in love as innies, or they fated to be together as outies. I don't really like that. I also think like there's a weakness here to this storyline that Justin has pointed out, like that we saw the innies develop. Like, why is outie Irving so attracted? We haven't seen that develop. I think the weakness is being pasted over a bit by the strength of these two tremendous actors in this scene, and all of their scenes together are really conveying this level of attraction and like love story that's not really there, that we haven't really seen, right?
That's why I'm saying I think the point is the question. Does them being in love as innies inherently mean that, like you said, are they fated? I don't think it's saying they are. I think it's trying to open up the question, are they? And if they are, what does that mean for Helly and Gemma and Mark and Helena? Like, I think it's just saying, if this is the case, then, you know, I mean, it's like Cobell. People keep saying, Cobell has said in the preview, they haven't had it in the show, but she keep hearing in the trailer when she says, you know, there's no, what'd she say? There's no honeymoon for you, Mark, or there's no happy ending, whatever. That's like what I took this as, is like, if this is the case, if this means that if the innie is fated and the outie is connected and all that, what does that say about them? And does that mean that they can't be happy because they're going to be in love with two people? Like, and I've said that before, like, if Mark is eventually completely reintegrated, how does he reconcile the fact that half of him loves one person and half of him loves another person? Like, how does that meet in the middle? Is there a way that can meet in the middle? That's what it says to me. I don't know that it means it's the case. I think it's just asking those questions.
Yeah, I also don't. So Big City's not buying the outies being in love thing. I mean, All City feels like Irving was trying to butter him up to save his ass in this scene. Totally possible. And, you know, Just Me points out, I don't know why everyone thinks Bert's saving Irving. There's people with briefcases and some look sketchy with the way the cat, right? Like, he could be putting him on the train to his doom. And he says, get off, don't worry, get off. But that doesn't mean somebody's not just going to kidnap him right off. I mean, they kidnapped Gemma and kept her prisoner for 2 years. They could kidnap Irving right off this train. That's a really good point, I think. Just me.
Yeah, I guess it depends how you look at it. And yeah, I'm not saying I necessarily believe that the innies being in love means the outies should be. I'm just saying I think that that's what it's implying, is that that's a possibility.
But I think that would really undermine the idea that the innie is a separate, fully formed personality from the outie, and that you would automatically be. It reminds me of that terrible Gwyneth Paltrow movie, Sliding Doors, where, you know, with different decisions she makes, her life changes, but does she end up with the same man in the end, no matter what she does, right? And I don't know. I just feel like if the Indy's a fully formed person and personality who has different thoughts and experiences and opinions, like why would they automatically end up with the exact same person? Right?
Yeah. Well, it depends whether you believe in, fate when it comes to love. I don't know. I just, like I said, I question what that means for reintegration. That's what it makes me worry about. Like, I just worry about Mark. Like, how is he ever going to reconcile?
I don't think, I mean,
maybe he can't. Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah. For me, I don't see him. I just don't really see him being in love. I just don't think he's in love with Helly.
I don't think he is either. I kind of almost feel like when they're in love as innies, that it's almost like a puppy love. It's like their first love because they don't know anybody. That it's not like necessary. I mean, it could be true love, but I'm saying I don't know that it necessarily is true love.
Well, not only that, he's known her really for not that long, for a minute.
No, but for them it's longer because they have like a half-life, but
it's still not that long. Like the 2 seasons, I don't know the amount of time that has elapsed, but it hasn't been 2 years that he's known her. And he was married to Gemma. Like his love story with Gemma is like solid and based on a lot of stuff. And
no, I agree with you, but you also have to remember in television, they only have to know somebody a few days to fall in love with them.
It's not that show. I think he likes her. I think he's interested in her. I think he's attracted to her. I don't think they have a deep, abiding love that will last a lifetime. Like
I don't either. I agree with you. I'm just saying I think that whatever happens, I don't know.
I think should he be
sad, whatever happens.
I think Mark's reintegration, like Helly is the loser in his reintegration.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark could be a loser because Gemma could be killed, but I think the loser is Helly. Because I really think that Mark would reintegration.
I agree with you, but I also kind of question if episode 7 was also trying to tell us that their relationship wasn't as great as he made it out to be. Like people, like I think he looks at Gemma now different than he did when he was married because she's gone. You know what I mean? Like he didn't appreciate her when she was there. And I wonder how stable their relationship was. But I do agree with you. I think Mark and Gemma are a better relationship than Mark and Helly. I totally 100% agree with you. I'm just saying that I just worry where they're going with it and what's going to happen. And can, Mark and Gemma be
also,
happy?
There is
and if Mark and Gemma are happy, what happens to Helly? I feel bad for Helly too,
Well, Helly's doomed anyway, because there's no way Helena is ever letting Helly, unless they were to reintegrate. Helly's never getting off the severed floor. And there is like Mark and Helena is just really not a couple that I think any of us really see together, right?
Yeah. All City says they better tell us who was on the phone with her. I want to know that too. Why did oh great, my mouse is dead and I gotta go get a freaking battery, I think, because it's stuck. Okay, you man the chat a second. I gotta go. Crap, I can't even turn my damn camera off because I'm working that.
I mean, I guess we'll just continue with this scene. I mean, this scene continues. I mean, it's such a great scene between 2 incredible actors really doing, I mean, it's too bad there aren't enough Emmys to go around for everybody who's in this cast. And by the way, I did read today, this is an incredible place where it's shot. This is the train station in Utica, New York is where they shot this. And it's really a spectacular train station with these like marble columns and the marble walls and everything.
I gotta go grab a battery. I'll be back.
All right. And so in the end, Irving is going to leave and get on this train. Oh, that sounded like a cat. I think that's Jamie's door creaking, but it sounded like a cat crying, didn't it? And so Irving gets on the train with Radar, and he's going to head out, right? Bert does sort of watch him walk away. I don't know if that was Bert having some regret about letting Irving walk out of his life, or if it was Bert making sure he gets on the train so the kidnappers can get him when he gets there.
I don't know. Sorry, I got my battery. I'm trying to get it out of the damn case. I'm
right. At any rate, so and he gets on the train and he goes. Is that it for Irving? Because it's not satisfying. It's not satisfying, right? It's not a satisfying ending for Irving.
And I feel like we're going to see Irving again, but will we see any Irv again?
I mean, there's some speculation that Turturro could be leaving the show. He gave some, at the beginning of the season, he gave some interviews where he talked about having had a full plate with this show and being satisfied, having had a full meal and being satisfied. And there has been some speculation in the fan community that Turturro could be finished with the show. It would be a very unsatisfying ending for Irving. It might be kind of realistic, though, from the Innie perspective that he'd just be gone and no one would ever know what happened to him. It would leave a lot of strings for us to be irritated about, right?
Well, I want to know about his investigation and about the phone call. That's why I don't think they'll drop Audi Irving. Will they drop any Irving? Maybe. But
yeah. I don't care that much about his investigation. It is what it is, but I would kind of like to know who he was talking to on the phone.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants to know. Did you go to these last two? Or just me?
Because we're talking about Irving. We're talking about Irving.
Well,
we're not talking subjects in the middle. That's why. Okay, I hate changing the subject.
Well, I know, but I was talking about a minute ago before I got up with the battery about Helly and Helena.
I mean, Justin feels kind of the same way. If this is actually the last we see of Dylan and Irving, like, there's no way, right? Like, is it? I mean, I could see kind of Irving just because Turturro has a full plate of work to do, right? And he's maybe in a different point, but that would be, I mean, I could see this being Bert's end on the show also, and that would be fine with me. Bert's story is complete. Irving is not. Dylan, I definitely think it's not the last we see of Dylan.
Yeah.
And Irving, yeah, there's probably no way. There's just too much left.
I agree. Like I said, I don't know that I need more. I don't know that I necessarily feel like any Irving story was left unfinished, but Audi Irving's, I do. And Dylan, Dylan, it can't be. Irving just got friend zoned by Bert. Kind of.
Yeah. So that's the end of that scene. And
I do think this scene was very sad, though. And I do want to say, because I know a lot of people have mentioned this, like when he keeps saying I'm ready and he touches foreheads with him. I mean, this is definitely mirroring that scene from the Innies.
Yeah, it does.
And I think it's very sad. Like, I don't know. I found it very sad. I agree. I agree with you. I don't know that I necessarily think they're meant and fated to be together, but it still was a sad scene.
Yeah, but again, I think it is sadder than the story would indicate because of these two great actors doing such great work and making us really feel a thing that I'm not sure I saw.
Maybe isn't in the script. That's fair.
Yeah.
And he goes out.
Yeah.
Now we go back to Dylan. Where is that? I'm going to turn the comment off, but I don't know where it went. Okay. Is Dylan going down to the testing floor to be reset? Well, right now, Dylan just asked to quit. We don't know what happened beyond that. Will he? I don't know.
I think, here's what I think. I don't know, but I think it's up to Audi Dylan whether or not any Dylan can resign. We saw it with Helly, right? Helly tried to resign, and Helena was like, nope, sorry, you got to keep going there. I think, if they let any Dylan resign, Audi Dylan doesn't get paid, and he threatened to resign. He threatened to resign in the early part of this episode. They need the money, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. Well, before it was kind of like they didn't have a choice, and they've supposedly said that, they won't make the Innies work there if they don't want to. Now, whether that's really the case, we don't know.
That's a lie.
I mean, that was what Milchek said. I don't think that's necessarily the truth. But we'll find out. But the point is, he's just sitting there waiting. And I have to say a couple things about this scene. One is it's really cool. Well, I'm going to go back in a second, but I wanted to see. Oh, it's way far. I'll get to it after. Otherwise, I'm going to be way far ahead. But I thought it was here. It shows where, like, when it shows him further away, that like his head is like right where in the painting, like where Kier's sword is above it. I don't know that it necessarily means anything or was intentional, but it looks really cool. That was my one statement. My other statement is I really like the way that they filmed this scene where they keep going between Dylan and Irving and even Bert and Miss Wong, because they're all kind of like at this precipice. Like Irving is leaving, Bert is obviously watching him go, but like Dylan's trying to leave and like Miss Wong's being made to leave. Like it's kind of all, they keep flipping back and forth. I like the way they filmed it. The way they kept going back. Let's see. All City says they did a great job, but I cared nothing for their Audi relationship. That's fair.
I agree. I think All City said it before. Justin said it before. There are some of us who don't feel that we really saw that relationship blossom the way we did on the severed floor. And I'm not rooting for them on the outside. I think in one episode they did much more to establish Walken and Noble as a solid couple who belong together.
Yeah.
I don't think that I believe that Bert would leave whatever his husband's name is for Irving.
Yeah, I don't know that I buy that either.
Maybe,
but I do agree with what you said. I think it's probably just because they're really, really both good actors, and it makes you feel for them. But was it in the script? I don't know. Just Me says, I think Audi Dylan would be pissed about the resignation request, especially because he can't hold a job. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think there were some earlier ones that were starred. Justin, how could Dylan resign? Wasn't this forbidden? Is Mark's reintegration a plot device that works when it needs to? Was he out 2 days for nothing? He definitely could about stand the force doing nothing all day. I think it's setting up the finale, I think, is the answer to that.
No, I think this is part of Justin's earlier comments on how this episode hold together for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know that Dylan can resign. It depends what, like you said, what Audi Dylan.
I mean, I don't know if it's for. I mean, yeah, I think they want the Innies to think they can resign, but it's actually up to the Audi what happens.
Right. Okay. So this is where it keeps going back and forth. She's waiting for the train. And they did do, I think in this episode, they made her look younger the way they, something did, like they've made her feel older through a lot of it. And then in this one, she does kind of feel younger, and you feel bad for her. But here's Irving getting on the train, and somewhere in there, in one of these is, I don't know if he's specifically in the pictures I have, but I know Michael's in there somewhere. I took quite a few pictures of the dog. That's a really pretty dog. That's what I kept thinking as I took it. There's the train, and then Bert, and Irving, and like I said, it keeps going back and forth. And he looks happy. And I think he's like he's sad, but I think it's kind of like bittersweet. I don't know. Like he's free in a way, but he's sad. I don't know, because he's a little happy. But there it is, right where it's like his head's right in the painting, in the right spot. It kind of makes me worry, though, if it does have meaning, he's a goner. But either way, I think it looks really cool. Like he's holding
it is cool. Yeah, it does.
It's a cool picture. I just hope it doesn't mean that he's going to die or something bad's going to happen or he's going to go. I mean, it could just mean, is he going to, I mean, maybe it's kind of like, the swinging, what do they call it? The pendulum,
that painting is called something like Kier slays his enemies or something like that, right?
No, it was he gives them forgiveness, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, Kier forgives his enemies, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's just supposed to represent, like I said, like that swinging sword, like, is Dylan coming back type of thing. Like maybe it's just sort of referencing, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know his fate. And then he gets in the elevator. And that's where Irving looks kind of happy. Now, I have a question, though, about this. After they show the train, they show the testing floor, and there is a sound of that when they flip. What do you think that means? Because that made me wonder if somehow Irving isn't actually on the outside. And I don't know that makes sense to the story, but why else would they show the testing floor and make that sound effect?
Well, I mean, I think that might be referred to All City's question of like, is Dylan going to the testing floor?
Oh, you think it's for Dylan? Yeah, I guess it could be. I took it like because they did it like juxtaposed with the train. I just kind of assumed that it meant Irving, but you're right. It could mean Dylan. So let's see. I lost where I was. So Mark gets in the truck bed like Cobell did in the last episode. And that's where it shows the hallway again, ding. And then Helly is memorizing Irving's note at her desk when James comes in. And this is the scene that makes me totally confused about the whole episode. And which is why I said, is it somehow possible that Helly's on the outside? Because what the hell does that mean? Because he says Helly, number one, not Helena. But he says, you tricked me, my Helly. What the hell does that mean? What do you?
I know what I think it means.
Okay, because I couldn't figure out what the hell it was supposed to mean. What do you think it means?
She said, we're taking care of Mr. Bailiff, and we just watched Mr. Bailiff escape.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe he did escape. I didn't even think that. Okay, that's smart. You're probably right. I like that idea.
That's what I think.
I want him to get away. Yeah, that makes sense.
It took me a while because at first I felt like Helly. I felt like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think the problem is, and the reason it's confusing and probably is supposed to be confusing, is he says Helly instead of Helena.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Helena she chose the name Helly to go inside, and it's a child.
It could be her name. He could call her that. Yeah,
Helly is obviously a nickname for Helena, right? I mean,
well, yeah, and he could just mean her. It's just odd that he didn't say it to Helena. Like, why is he going to the severed floor to say it to Helly?
Because that's where she is. Because that's where she is right now.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if you're right, which I think it definitely could mean that, what is the significance of saying that to Helly? Because Helly has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Like she doesn't know about Irving. She wouldn't. So I don't understand the significance of why go down to talk to Helly now, unless this is a possibility that now you've made me think of. Okay, what Naveed says, I think being tricked, he means season 1 finale, she pretended to be Helena. It could be. I would wonder why he waited this long, though. That's my only question. But you know what it makes me wonder?
Maybe he just learned of it off screen.
Maybe, but you know what it also makes me wonder? If it's possible that they never actually told him about what happened with Helena being like drowned by Irving. And that
why would he say you tricked me?
Because what if they never told him that she failed? They wanted him to think that she went down there as Helena, and they never told him, hey, he tried to kill your daughter, so now it's Helly down there. Like, maybe he thinks it's his daughter and he doesn't realize it's Helly. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing it. It just made me wonder after you said that, like, maybe he's not aware of what happened. Because if he's not aware, then it would make sense that he would think it's actually Helena.
So you think he didn't know that Helena went on the Ortbo? And that
no, I'm saying I think that maybe he doesn't know Helena didn't stay down. Like that after the Ortbo, they reverted her to Helly. Could he not know that and think it's his daughter he's talking to?
Maybe. Yeah. Yes. Could he? Yes. Do I think that is the most likely answer? No.
I don't know. I just question if what you're saying is the case, why he would say it to Helly and not Helena. Because Helly would have no clue what he's talking about.
You know, All City says, why is he being endearing to the NE? He's never endearing to Helena. So, but I didn't read him as
endearing. I didn't either. I got super creepy vibes at this moment.
Yeah.
A lot of people did. I don't know. I just, like I said, I think this whole scene to me was so confusing. I like your explanation a lot, but I don't understand why he would go see her on the severed floor, because she would have no clue what he's talking about. Unless, although for all we know, maybe they own the place. Maybe he has like a portable OTC, or not OTC, Glasgow block. And maybe like he's going to turn her back on so he can have a conversation. Who knows?
So he came down there. He's not severed, right? He's either not a severed person at all, or he has.
She is. That's why I don't understand why he would go talk to Helly. It just doesn't make sense to me, unless he thinks it's still Helena and doesn't know what happened at the Ortbo. That's why I said maybe he just doesn't know. I don't know. But All City says, my Helly, he never talks to Helena like that.
Yeah, he says you tricked me,
my Helly, but I didn't take it endearing. I more took it like he's pissed at her, like kind of like how when you say like somebody's middle name, you know, like I didn't really take it like endearing.
I mean, I do see how Helly is a term of endearment. I read Helly as like her childhood nickname.
No, it could be, but the way he said it to me didn't sound like an endearment. It sounded like he was pissed about something.
Because, you know, as All City has pointed, he just never talks to Helena like that. Like he didn't call her Helly at breakfast this morning. he never talks to her in a way that seems like he would use that name. Call her Helly. It was weird. Yeah, it was creepy and weird. And you have a good point, Jamie. Like, why did he come all the way to the severed floor to see her when she'll be home that night and while she is Helly?
Yeah.
So I do like Naveed's idea that he just found out that in the season 1 finale she pretended to be Helena, and my Helly could mean a different kind of like possessive, like my Helly, like the severed people all belong to him, right?
Oh, like that. Yeah, that's even more creepy. I was trying to think though, has he talked to her about what happened at the
Well, we don't know. We haven't seen
like
it.
Maybe, she said like, she made up some excuse to say that it wasn't her any. Like, yeah, maybe he didn't know.
Well, we don't know. We haven't seen any of that, so we don't. That's pure speculation. But
it is. But this,
and also now I'm going to speculate. Like, we don't know how involved he is in the day to day, and who really runs. Like, Drummond appears to really run the place.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying maybe he doesn't know that she's not still Helena. Like, that to me would make sense. But I don't know. It's just really weird. The whole scene is weird. And okay. All City says maybe it's any James. Whoops, you clicked on the other one. I was going to click on that one first. He's being sarcastic. I was going to say, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
first, I thought he was expressing disappointment about Cold Harbor not being completed, but then I thought he was going to trap Helly to force Miller to come back. That could be a possibility.
Yeah, except that Outie Mark doesn't care. Only any Mark would care.
Well, but he may not know Mark isn't. Well, no, he would have to know Mark wasn't there, I would think. I don't know.
I mean, he's obviously not there. You just look around the room. He's not there.
Yeah. He could be in the bathroom for all he knows.
No, it's way after hours. She has stayed.
No, I know. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't understand the scene. I thought the scene was confusing and weird. And that's my explanation. But yeah, I don't know. So after this scene,
Mark is sneaking. They're sneaking into the pregnancy cabin in the next scene.
Okay, yeah. So okay, so yeah, it makes no sense. I want to like see the writers and stuff. I want an answer about it. I would like to hear them talk about it. So they're going to the cabin. They stop at this gate to go in, and I like how they have like this like arch, because it's kind of like they're passing a precipice or something. Somebody's telling me something. But yeah, like they're passing a threshold. I don't know. That's what it made me think of. But she goes in and she talks to this woman at the gate, and she says they're going to Cottage 5, and the woman says they don't have anyone scheduled, and she tells her that Devon is one of James and no one is to know. So she's pretending to be pregnant. So essentially they're like saying they use this cabin. James sleeps with these women to get him pregnant.
Okay. He sleeps with them to get him pregnant. He sleeps with them and they end up pregnant.
That's fair.
They end up pregnant.
And they stash them there.
And they stash them the babies.
Yeah.
But
you're right. That's the case. Now, there's this whole thing, and I took a picture of the Facebook post, although I probably should have taken a picture of who actually wrote the Facebook post, but I guess it was said by more than one people, this is a Kevin Schweitzer. I don't know who somebody on the Facebook group said. That whenever they have this conversation, I don't know because I haven't seen it, but this whole thing that comes up next, when she says that she says Miss Marshall White, the 9th floor, and she says a specialties apartment. She says, I'm looking for a gold thimble. Now, I assume this is meant as a code, but it's also a reference to a Twilight Zone episode, because the Twilight Zone episode is called The After Hours, which is the name of this episode. And it's about mannequins in a department store that take turns living as humans on the outside. And basically this mannequin named Marshall White stays over her time, and they go to bring her back, and then says they entice her with an ad for a gold thimble. So anyway, the point is this whole thing is like a reference to that show, to that episode, I guess. A couple people pointed it out, but that was the post I copied. So I don't know. I didn't watch much Twilight Zone, so I don't remember, but that's cool they put that in there. I think she just used it as a code so she knew like she wasn't being coerced or anything like that. So she lets her through. And that woman, I know her from somewhere and I cannot figure out what it's from.
Oh, I think she looks exactly like that woman who was Dr. Evil's henchwoman in the Austin Powers movies.
Well, that I don't know about, but she was in something I seen. Yeah, I don't know what it was from, I'm thinking, but it wasn't that. But Mark's still in the truck bed. Now, I'm not sure exactly when the switch happened because they make the sound effect when he goes and like the sort of flipping thing when he goes through this archway, but yet when he wakes up, he's in the cabin. So I think he wasn't actually supposed to have switched till he got to the cabin, but it's not 100% clear, and it doesn't matter.
He walks into that door and they do the whoop.
That's what I thought, but to me, they started like the effect when he was still laying in the truck bed. That's what confused me. Because they like made his eyes go wiggy like he was flipping over there. So, but yes, I think that the cabin is what does it. So I'm not sure what that was about. But anyway, he comes in, he's confused because he's any Mark. And she's like, it's good. She's talking to him, it's going to be okay. Come talk to me. And he remembers who she is, obviously. And she leads him. Okay, I took a picture of this shot because I don't know. That's like an elevation map or something. Isn't this what it looks like to me? Or like the inside of a rock or something?
Or an abstract painting.
It could be. I'm just saying it looks like something. But she gets him to take a walk with her and they walk past a painting of Kier that's in the cabin. And they go up and she says, do you remember what the last thing you said to me was? And he said, she's alive. And then Cobell's waiting for them. And it's kind of like a dun-dun-dun moment.
Shot of the entire season.
Yeah.
How they zoom in on her and she's illuminated by the fire. And
yeah, it's awesome. So he's a little weary, but yeah, I don't know. I also had marked in my notes that she's wearing blue, so maybe she really is trying to help him, but I think that's reaching a bit.
Oh, no.
I said I think it's reaching too much, but I took notes quick and had the first time I watched it and had to go through it all. So yeah. But let me ask you that though. Do you think that she's really going to help Mark? Or do you think it's a ruse? I think she's going to help him.
I mean, she's no interest in helping Mark. She would only help Mark insofar as it furthers her own goals.
That's true. But I'm saying, like, I think some people think she's like tricking him. I don't think that is what I'm getting at.
I think she's absolutely lying and tricking them. But they might still get something. Yeah, she's absolutely lying and tricking them to get what she wants. If Mark and Devin got something they wanted also at the same time, fine. But she's not there to help them.
Right. But I'm saying I don't think her goal was to like turn them in and get them in trouble and that she's like screwing them over.
She will turn them in.
If it helps her, yeah.
If it suits her.
I agree. But I don't think that's why she's helping them. I think she's trying to further, like, I think
it's not clear that she's helping them. She's only agreed to speak to Mark S.
I don't know.
Like,
yes. Like, I just don't think she's trying to screw Lumen. I think she's still pissed at Lumen.
Oh, so she should be running Lumen.
She should be, but she's not.
And she wants to be. Like, she's not. I don't think she's trying to destroy Lumen. She might be trying to get control of Lumen. She might be trying to oust some people who control Lumen. I don't think that she thinks Lumen is bad. I mean, she invented Severance. She obviously thinks Severance is a good thing, right? Yeah, she's not trying to stop Severance. She's not trying to. I don't know what she's trying to do. I'm speculating that maybe she wants to be in control. Maybe she wants to punish the people who stole her idea.
Yeah.
But I don't think she wants to destroy the idea and bury it and ruin it, right?
Yeah. But I definitely think that she's trying, like, I think I'm going to put in case anybody wants to give us any comments, I'm going to put the StreamYard link in. And if we don't know who you are, tell us in the chat first before you go calling so we don't get people posting porn. What is it going to say? Oh, I think that makes more sense now that we know she might want revenge because of what happened. Like I was just gonna say, I do appreciate getting that episode of her because I think that is really key of why she seems to hate Lumen because she came up with it and they stole it. We didn't really talk about this because you weren't here. So
it also became clear that they were like using her as child labor from even before she. So Miss Wong is so young as the intern, and Harmony had been working in an ether factory for years before that, right? So from I don't know, the age of like 13-ish, maybe.
Well, she said she was working in the factory since she was 8.
Since she was 8, yeah, since she was 8. Wow. I mean, that's crazy, right? But she had this idea. I don't know, like, it's hard to say if she never got fired, would she? Right? And I'm glad that the idea that she's mad about her mother is like sort of cast aside now. Like, we understand what happened to her mother. We understand that it's Sissy who pulled her plug, and Harmony's angry about that.
Not necessarily. Sissy said that her mother did it herself. We don't know. That's if you believe it.
I don't believe the person who's intubated, like, pull that tube out. Like, I've only seen them do it on TV, but it doesn't look like a thing that people can do. That tube goes all the way down into your lungs.
If she was completely intubated with it, yeah.
I mean, well, it's either only right in your mouth or you're completely intubated, right?
Well, it looked, from what I got out of looking at the machine, because again, you weren't here, so it looks like it's actually a CPAP machine because it says on there about that on the machine. But I did read that in some cases they use them in emergencies for oxygen, and because this has technology that's so old and this happened so many years ago, it's possible that back then that's just the way it was made. I don't know. But yeah, it's possible that she was completely intubated with it. It's not clear to me, but at any rate, yeah, I think.
I mean, I'm glad that whole thing was set aside and it's over, and we know that she's not on a vendetta about her mother. So, I mean, she's angry about her idea being stolen. And she's angry about having been fired and not being able to. Now we know why she was in charge of the severed floor and why she's so interested in reintegration. I mean, I think she probably has some more interest in Mark now that he's reintegrating. I mean, right?
And she's a good person to maybe be able to help him not die because she knows what she's doing. Like, that makes more sense.
Does she know what she's doing? I don't know.
Well, if she invented the Severance chip, I'm assuming that if anybody knows about reintegration, it would probably be her. Like, I'm saying it makes sense that she would know what to do, I guess.
As far as we know from what we've seen on screen, Ragabi has way more experience with reintegration and has actually tried to reintegrate people and help people through it. And we've not ever seen Harmony do anything like that.
No, but she has known from the beginning that it was possible and never believed them when they said it wasn't. So I figure there's a possibility that, like, maybe she put a back door into it or something, for all we know. It depends if she was actually involved in creating the chip or just designing the chip.
I mean, I think she believes it's theoretically possible, not that she knows it's possible. It hasn't, nobody's, like, Petey died, nobody's lived yet through integration, right?
Yeah. So yeah, maybe she just scientifically is interested in it.
Yes, I think she might have a scientific interest in Mark to see what happens. I don't think she cares about Gemma. I don't think she wants to save Gemma.
I don't think she cares about that.
I don't think she really. I think she might want to see Cold Harbor finished, whatever it is, right? And I think if she helps them,
she wants him to finish Cold Harbor. Do you think she's going to push it though? Because she just told him if he finishes it, she's dead. So
yeah, but she doesn't care if Gemma lives or dies, right?
No, I don't think she cares, but I don't think she's going to now turn around and say you need to finish Cold Harbor after she just told him if you do that, she's going to die.
Yeah, two things can be true. She could be telling Mark the truth that if he finishes, she dies, and she could also want it to be finished.
Yeah, true. Or maybe she's completely lying, and if it doesn't get finished, it'll kill her. Who knows?
I believe that. I mean, from what we saw in the Gemma episode, I think that. I mean, we saw them say to the doctor, "You'll have to say goodbye to her," I mean, does it mean a physical death? Does it mean the death of the innie? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
We have a couple of like stray comments hanging around here. Left in the chat. For All City, the episode was weird. When All City says, I felt like things landed awkwardly in that scene, this was posted at when James comes to Helly. Is the scene All City referred to there. The Bert and Irving thing and the whole Dylan thing, like all of that, City thinks is.
I agree. Those pieces didn't all work for me. Well, the Dylan thing, not as much, because like I understand the Dylan thing a little more, I guess, than the other two things.
Do we understand the part? We didn't really talk about the part where he's like, whatever, I quit, but he's basically deciding to die, right?
Oh, that part. Yeah. That part specifically. Yeah.
We didn't talk about that, but
I get that he wants to quit, but like, thinks he's that in love with her that he wants to kill himself? That part I'm not so sure about.
I mean, I guess he, maybe being in love has made him realize that a life without love is not a life, right? I mean, it's kind of how Irving felt when Bert first left, but it does seem to be a rash decision to be like, boom, I'm quitting, and you will just cease to exist at that moment. I
don't think he thought it through.
Yeah, but he realized how horrible his life is. But yeah. Just me liked Helly and Mark until she saw Mark with Gemma. Episode 7, best episode ever. Yeah, I agree. I said it earlier. Like, I just think Mark and Gemma have a real relationship that Helly and Mark we haven't really. Yeah, I don't dislike Helly and Mark. I like Helly and Mark. I liked them more before the whole creepy sleeping together business. I liked them better when they were like dancing around each other.
That's
but Mark with Gemma did kind of blow that away. Episode 7 is going to be hard to beat next week.
I agree. Episode 7 was the best so far.
And let's hear Justin out. Let's hear Justin out. Helly and Gemma both realize they're too good for Mark and end up together.
That works. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. That would be funny though, and we'd all be surprised.
They both are too good for Mark. They really are both great in their own ways, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's see. Lori, Real Cinema Therapy says, I feel like too many plot lines are open and I wonder if they'll be hanging loose ends. I would say, considering we know there's another season, I wouldn't be surprised if not everything gets answered. But I'm saying that as I thought that before I seen the finale. I'm not saying things do or don't. But I mean, it's a finale. It's a season finale, and we know it's coming back. They know they were renewed when they wrote this, I believe. So I wouldn't expect everything to get wrapped up.
I wonder if this comment means, though, will there be hanging loose ends at the end of the show?
I hope not.
There are a lot of plot lines open, and it is time to tighten them up. If Irving has left the show, there would be a lot hanging. So much so that we think that he has to come back, right? Dylan. Yeah. Okay. And I think it was maybe Justin who said earlier, they can't like both be lead. There's no way that they're leaving, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're just going to switch cast in season 3. I don't.
What? I don't mean switch cast, lower the cast.
Change cast, whatever. Change
cast, right? Yeah. Would have liked to see some plot lines closed. Yeah. And we kind of saw the Gretchen and Dylan storyline was a little annoying and unnecessary in some ways, right? It would have been nice to have seen that closed, not with Dylan resigning, and maybe that will get resolved next week. Like that plot line could be closed, and I wouldn't mind that. Miss Juan could be closed. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and there's all these Lumen weirdo Drummond. There's all these characters that have just enough screen time to make them feel like a important part, and maybe they're just part of the general creepiness of Lumen.
Maybe. I just definitely don't think they could get rid of Audi Irving, because I think if they do, everybody, including myself, is going to be really pissed not knowing who he called.
Really? That's the main thing that you have to know? It doesn't
I
really.
want to know who he was working with.
I
That's
mean,
important to me
he
because I
could
feel
be
like
working with
somebody we know.
anybody from that total anti-severance movement that was highlighted a lot more in season 1. But
True, but I feel like it's a hanging thread that they need to pull a little bit.
that is, I don't really need to. It'd be nice to hear. I don't really. That's not the thing that I'd be mad. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
I agree. I'd like to know. Do I have to know?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that I see his innie coming back. I think that storyline's been resolved, kind of. Like, not necessarily in the best way, but I think I don't know how they would bring his innie back.
No, Helena won't allow it. There's no way. His innie can't come back.
So I think that
his outie could be gone.
I don't know.
Maybe make a surprise appearance. Remember how on Gilead, on what's that show, The Handmaid's Tale?
I don't know.
Like where Alexis Bledel like left for a while, came back, and now she's gone off the show, but they like still would talk about her sometimes. Like sometimes you have a character who leaves and but people still mention them once in a while. Like in General Hospital, where the actress of Monica is dead and they still talk about her like she's alive upstairs in the house.
Yeah.
They make it seem like he had something brewing. What was the point of all that? I guess whoever's on the phone with can be a new character to replace him.
Yeah, maybe. I guess they could just have like in the beginning them showing who's on the other line and then move on to that. I just hope that's not the case, but I agree. It seems like it was something important. That's why I don't want them to drop that storyline.
Yeah, I think he's working with that anti-severance movement.
It might be. I always kind of assumed that he was working with like either Cobell or that like maybe Milchek was a double agent and we didn't know it. Yeah, I thought it was going to be like some big reveal, and it still could be. I mean, we haven't seen the last episode yet. I'm just saying that's what I always surmise. The sunshine. Okay, wait. The sunshine through the door when he left the waiting room makes me feel Outie Irving may die.
Like he was walking into the light?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I still thought when they did that blooping noise that and showed the testing floor that was meant for Irving. And I know now, I know you said you think it was meant for Dylan, and now that makes sense to me, but I don't know. When I watched this, I wondered if it was possible he never really left. But
how could they construct this huge hours-long drive and a train station? How could all that be happening and he's never left?
Maybe not so literal, I guess. More like that he didn't leave them and they're going to take him back to the testing floor, I guess, is more what I didn't mean it quite so literally. He didn't leave, but that like he's not going to be allowed to leave, I guess, is more what I meant. Like,
I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess
because that would actually be a way to bring back Innie and Outie. Like if they wanted to bring back the actor, but like they needed a way to bring back the thing, like they could take him down the testing floor and reset him or something.
Well, if he was ever there, I mean, we think he was there because he paints the elevator, but.
I mean, there is a theory that they've been wiped over and over again and that they're like new innies. So, I mean, there is a possibility he's been there and he'll be there again. And you say like that train couldn't be part of it, but like, what about the fact if you think of like
the Ortbo?
I think of like Ortbo, like, is it possible not the whole, I don't think the whole, train station, but like maybe that train is severed or something.
I don't
know. I'm just spitballing. I'm just thinking of things, could this happen? I don't know. I just don't see them completely ending the storyline they had going, but maybe you're right and I'm wrong. I mean, I have no clue.
Yeah. I could see John Turturro being done is another reason why I feel like
I could see that too. I mean, I hope not, but I could see it. Yeah. I don't know.
And I mean, I don't disagree that we need some storylines to wrap up, and that's one that could have reached its conclusion.
Yeah.
They decided to make that because in the end, is his story more about his personal journey and not about his chaotic attempt to learn about Lumen.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, his personal journey is complete. He said, "I'm willing to accept love." You talk a lot about when when a villain is redeemed, it's time for them to die. Like when Bert has become Irving is now a fully realized person, both inside and outside. Like his outie was not really a full person, and now that he's ready to accept love, he's a full human being. And like, where is there for him to go as a character?
Maybe.
Except as an agent in this mystery. I mean, I think the person on the phone again is sort of like a MacGuffin.
I don't know. She said, I read that John Turturro didn't want to work in the office set because he gets migraines for the lights. Well, then maybe if that's the case, then maybe they're not taking him off the show just out of any part of it because of that. I don't know, but that could be the case.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't read that, but I just there's a lot of ways they could go with it. I mean, and I know a lot of people think he's reintegrated, and I don't know that I think that, but I know a lot of people do. Hey, Matt. Thanks for coming. We're winding down, but thanks for coming.
I don't think he is, but
no, I don't think he is either. I know that that's like a theory that some people think he's reintegrated. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, all theories are valid right up until the moment they're not, right?
They're not. Yeah, right. And sometimes they're still valid because they confuse us and twist back around, right?
I've had plenty.
You don't got to leave. I didn't mean to leave. I just was saying that we're winding down.
We are. I think we're about.
I was gonna say if anybody wants to comment, I put the link there, but I think we're
about.
Yeah, I think we're getting there.
We'll save our energy for what is sure to be a big show next Saturday.
Yeah, Matt says we have no evidence that he's reintegrated. I agree.
There's not one,
and I don't think he is. Again, like we said, I mean, it's a theory. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but it's a theory.
It's a theory that has no evidence right now.
Yeah, right now it doesn't have evidence.
Which makes it speculation and not a theory.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What do you have any? I mean, that's the one question I really can't ever answer. But what do you have any theories for what you think is going to come in the finale? Like, is there anything you're expecting?
I mean, I don't see Gemma being rescued next week. That has to go into next season, right?
Fair.
I guess we'll see more of this uneasy alliance between Mark and Devin and Harmony. I guess they want to talk to Mark to find out. I just don't know. Like, what more does Mark S know that Harmony doesn't know?
I don't know.
Right? Like,
I still wonder if she's trying, and I know you said you don't, but I still wonder if she's going to try to bring Lumen down more so than although I like the idea of trying to control it too. I don't know. But I think that she's mad at them for everything they've done, and she seems to be coming around, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think she wants to control the Severance program.
But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think, everything is just going to be resolved and it's going to be a happy ending next week. But there's a lot that goes on. I took it. Yeah, I saw it. I took it as they were going to give him information on what to do when he.
Okay. Yeah, Big City. They're going to give Mark S information on what to do when he goes back to the floor tomorrow.
Okay.
And say, or tell him to give a message to the other people in there, or tell him that how he can try to find Gemma or something. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Matt says he's going into the finale. Abandon all theories. See who enter here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what they could do after that blowout episode of episode 7. I said at the time that 7 felt like it could be the series finale. I mean, the season finale.
Not the
right? 7 felt like it could have been the season finale. And I was like, whoa, what comes after this? Oh, what comes after 2 really slow episodes that were unsatisfying. Real Cinema, Cobell may want to use Mark to prove to Lumen that reintegration is possible, getting back her authority. Yeah, because no one really believes her, and she has been so interested in it. I mean, she's been messing with Mark for a while.
My only question with that is, do you think that no one believes her, or nobody wanted it known that it was a possibility and they were trying to bury it? I kind of felt that. I don't know that
No, there's nothing to bury. It like she thinks it's possible.
But I mean, I kind of wondered if it was more they already know it's possible, but they were trying to like remove all traces, and that's why they're like, no, it's not possible. Just like closing her down because they don't want anybody to know it.
Well, so if you subscribe to the theory that they want to sell it, then you wouldn't want anybody to be worried about it reintegration, right? Like you would definitely, that would be a failure.
I don't know if I was gonna go and get severed, I want to know that reintegration was possible and you could change your mind. So I think that depends.
No, I know. Change your mind. You just never go to any severed place again. Like it's super easy to change. You don't have to worry about that. But reintegration would be a danger that I'm severing myself so I don't have to experience the pain of childbirth, and I'm going to reintegrate and have a memory of that. I mean, I've never had a baby. I don't know if people really remember that, but Mark. The reason Mark severed was to forget Gemma. Now, assuming she wasn't alive anymore, like why would he want to reintegrate and
remember the grief?
Yeah, I feel like but I'm not sure I believe that they're going to try to sell Severance, because in season 1 we saw that the anti-Severance movement and anti-Severance skepticism is pretty universal. Like there's not a lot of Severance people at that dinner party. People kept asking Mark about it because it's not a common thing, right?
Yeah, I think
and there's a big anti-Severance community.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought maybe they were trying to bury it, not that they didn't believe her. Like they were just trying to prove her wrong. But I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter. Lumen is destroyed in a fire explosion. Everyone dies except Milchick, Gemma, and Ellie. Gemma and Ellie very well Milchick.
90 miles away in Mark's memory.
Hey, every theory's a theory, right?
Yep.
And yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, Lori. Like, I think that maybe she could know more than Ragabi because she created the chip. But did she create a way to reintegrate? I don't know. Either way, she's, apparently genius enough that she can figure it out. I would think. We had a discussion of we had a discussion last week of do we believe that it makes sense that she's like this genius that invented all this stuff, because we don't know how long there was between her getting that fellowship and inventing it,
and her creating that notebook. And
then we had this discussion last week.
Yeah.
But apparently she's a genius because she invented all this stuff.
Taking Lumen down, they're a much larger corporation than just Severance, but she may want to get control of the Severance program and the product back from them. Like they stole it from her. They took credit for it, right? And she wants it back.
Yeah, although she did she was a kid. I was going to say she let them take credit, but she was also a kid.
We don't know how old she was when she wrote that notebook.
That's true. You're right. I just said that. Matt says they may want to automate Severance. You feel a certain emotion and chip kicks in. I've said before, I think that part of it, when they say like about taming their tempers, I think that they want to get rid of all emotion. And that's part of what the chip may be about. Whether that's to make super soldiers, whether it's just to control people, make slaves, I don't know. But I think that that's a part of it.
Yeah.
Or they may install Severance switches at various locations. If you're chipped and you enter that location, chip kicks in. Well, yeah, I think that would make sense. But I'm curious, like, what the reason for that would be, I guess, in the real world. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
like having certain locations, if you're going by emotions for other reasons, maybe, but talking about the last comment.
You could chip your whole classified workforce and not have to worry about anybody spilling secrets. Like you could never be compromised or bought by a foreign agent because you would have no life outside.
You'd never be tortured to give it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lori said it wasn't very believable that she invented it, but since it's given in the storyline, I think she wants power and get back in Lumen's good graces. Yeah. I think we're gonna have to accept she invented it. But yes, we discussed that at length, and it was a little far-fetched.
Came out of nowhere. We didn't really have indications that she understood it better than anyone else or had invented it. She just had an interest in it. Yeah, it wasn't believable, but it's there now. Yeah.
Yep. So I agree. Let's see. Matt says, I think it's to have a severed world, like the testing floor. I mean, why do we have class society in this world? So people can do the jobs the wealthy don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're using it just for working class, yeah. But in that sense, if they're using them as slaves, I guess at least they won't remember it, right? I mean, maybe that's the point.
But that's the whole point. The slave does remember it. The slave knows it. That like you're saying, well, if they have slaves, they won't remember it. But like
Well, if they're severed, they won't. They
the
won't remember what it is they do.
enslaved innie suffers.
Yeah, the innie does. Yes.
Yeah.
He's saying it's capitalism.
Yeah. I mean, it's and this we talked at length about the idea of like sever yourself when you have a baby. What? That's outrageous, right? Or Mark severed himself to avoid grief. Wasn't a great idea either, right?
Yeah, none of these are smart ideas.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, I would think you'd want to remember having childbirth, but I think sometimes you wouldn't want to necessarily remember the pain. I'm just thinking of that because we're talking about it. My mom was telling me the story the other day when she went to the hospital with me. The doctor broke her water. Well, it was actually because he had a golf game he wanted to go to. I was born before I was supposed to be. He brought her in and said, "You're in labor," and she wasn't in labor. He broke her water. And found out the hospital he took her to, and obviously he knew this because he worked at the hospital, did not give epidurals. She thought she was getting an epidural, and suddenly she's in labor and not getting an epidural. So I'm sure she would have liked to have gotten out of the pain because she was telling me they had to give her like a birthing class, like right there, because I was coming. So yeah, so she didn't even know that was going to happen.
I mean, I don't have any children, but I think you're right that most women,
the pain part,
cherish the memory of the birth of their child, right?
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt's saying they're being kind and they don't, for them not to remember.
Well, never underestimate the idea for bad ideas to become dumb. Jamie, stop.
Sorry.
Never.
Now I'm waiting. Let you do it.
One of us turns it on, one turns it off. Never. This is how I feel about AI, Matt Gilbert. Like somebody thought they should be like, let's have a lot of AI because we can, and because somebody can make money off it, right? As though we didn't all see Skynet try to nuke all of humanity. Or like let's have self-driving cars. Like somebody convinced me why that's a good idea because I haven't heard one yet. But yeah, the bad ideas become dominant just because someone thinks it's a good idea, a technology for the sake of technology, and somebody somewhere thinks they can make money off it.
Yeah. I really think, and I'll say this again, I had said this to you before, if you haven't, I suggest people find that. I got to get a link to it and put it in Discord. That spec script for Severance, that the whole idea was based on this original story, because it's really interesting.
Okay. Yeah. When I'm finished watching Severance and talking about Severance, I'll have more time to read about Severance.
That's true.
Yep.
Now we only have one episode left. Then what? Then we're going to have to talk about other shows and
I guess
and everything.
Yep. All right. I think it's about time to wrap it up, huh?
Yep. Everybody, please like, subscribe, leave comments. Check out the rest of our YouTube, scifivision.com, all that good stuff. And remember that tomorrow the watch party for Yellow Jackets is at 6 p.m. Eastern in Discord, which the link is in the chat, because at 7 o'clock, Nia Sandaya, who plays Tina Keela, is going to be our special guest. And then we will finish our live stream. And then we are back Tuesday with our roundup episode where we're talking about Wheel of Time, Reacher, Daredevil,
Wheel of Time,
Born Again. I keep wanting to call it Reborn. And maybe some other stuff.
All those bodies, 9 bodies in a Mexican morgue.
Yeah. 9 bodies in a Mexican morgue.
God, I'm trying to watch all this stuff. It's St. Patrick's Day is coming up. I got to go to a parade tomorrow. Oh. All right.
Well, I gotta do all the Yellow Jacket stuff, but I like Yellow Jacket. So what's this? Y'all gonna watch The Studio? Is that a show, or does that mean The Studio? I'm not sure what that is. All City. Unless he doesn't mean a show, and I'm just like mixing up what he means.
I don't know. I've not heard.
It is a TV series. It says follows a legacy Hollywood movie studio striving to survive in a world where it's increasingly difficult for art and business to live together. I had not heard of that. I'll have to find out more about it.
March 26th on USA.
Yeah, I'll have to Oh, it's app. Is it Apple? It
On
looks like
Apple, March 26th on Apple.
yeah, because I'm seeing an Apple thing. Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Seth Rogen fan, but I do love Catherine Hahn. So
yeah, she's great. So we'll have to check it
yeah.
out. Also, we'll probably do a watch party tomorrow night too for Nine Bodies in a Mexican Morgue once the Yellow Jackets thing is over, if people want to. Since we did do that last week and we're caught up, but yeah, I've been having fun with that. I'm trying to think any interviews coming up. I don't know. I think it's mostly not anything in particular other than like the stuff I've been doing, mixtape, the reality TV stuff, hunting party. I got more coming for Grosse Point Garden. Is it Garden Society or Garden Club? I want to keep calling it Garden Club. Garden Society, I think it's called. Got stuff for that coming. And then, of course, soon we'll be covering The Last of Us and Doctor Who. That'll be soon.
Down the road, yeah.
Yeah, that's next month. Right. That's not too far. All right, guys. Well,
guys.
Thank you for coming. We always appreciate it and hope to see you tomorrow. And if not, then next week.
Yep.
We should interview Britt Lauer. Yeah, I would love to do that, Justin. You tell her that. Tell her to come talk to us. Yeah, I'm still gonna look into trying to get some more people. Some of the people who I thought we were getting haven't written back, so I'm still trying. But like I said, if you guys want to see Mark Geller again, let me know because he seemed open to doing it again. Maybe we'll talk to him again after the finale. We'll see. But yeah, trying to get people. All right. And we also have. I don't know if I mentioned it here before, but we also do have Vanessa Prasad for Yellow Jackets. It'll be coming in the next couple weeks too. I know it's not Severance, but
all right.
Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming. Have a good night.